people for your job and actively invites them to apply.
Scott, is that you? Who are you talking to?
82% of you will also know that I, live with my mom. But the most important thing to note is that ZipRecruiter works. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Will you be part of the 82% who remember where you can try ZipRecruiter for free? It's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Again, that exclusive link is ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Yes, radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Are you one of the millions of homeowners who haven't refinanced yet? If so, I'm here to tell you it's not too late. Hi, I'm Wesley Hogan with Westland Financial. Although the lowest rates may be in our rearview mirror, as the economy recovers from the biggest economic shock of our lifetime, rates still remain near historic lows. In fact, with the dramatic increase in home values, this may be the perfect time to put that new home equity to work. Take advantage of our cash-out refi program and pay off high-rate credit cards, car loans, or other high-interest rate debt. Or finally make those home improvements you put on hold for so long. Best of all, we can do this with no closing costs. That's right. Whether it's a conventional, FHA, or VA loan, we'll pay for your title, settlement, lender, and recording fees. So call Westland at 888-455-3669. That's 888-455-3669. It's the biggest no-brainer in the history of mankind. 888-455-3669.
NMLS number 3304. Not all loans apply. Equal housing lender.
You've undoubtedly heard of the calm before the storm. Well, Michaelis is the calm after the storm. More than 3 decades of restoring damage from wind, rain, and hail. They've got your back, not to mention your front, side, and roof. It's why home and business owners beat a path to Michaelis' door, because it's always answered around the clock with welcome arms. Your port in the storm. From site security and tarping services to complete restoration work, they can handle anything Mother Nature throws your way. Seasoned and trustworthy pros who are never deterred by a little wind and rain, or a mother load of it for that matter. Water, storms, fire, and foundations. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Call 844-FIX-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
It costs nothing to be kind. In fact, it actually pays. By donating plasma at BioLife Plasma Services, your kindness enables someone else to live more fully. And just imagine the difference you could make if you could take the $1,100 you could earn in the first month and donate it to your favorite charity. Or buy a school teacher supplies. Or buy everyone in your neighborhood noise-canceling headphones because your granddaughter is learning a recorder. She has to get better soon, right? BioLife. There's purpose in your plasma. Visit biolifeplasma.com to learn more.
Kurt Cavan here for Thorpe Real Estate. We've talked sports for years. Now let's talk about buying or selling your home. 317-622-8350.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
Thursday on the Fan Morning Show, we're back in studio, but the Colts coverage will continue. Jonathan Taylor going to join myself, Kevin Bowen, and Brendan King, 7 to 10 a.m. Give us a listen right here on the Fan.
What in the hell do you think you're doing?
Hey, John Boy.
I'm telling you straight, it's my way or the highway. So anybody wants to walk, do it now.
Hey, everybody, we're all gonna get laid.
And again, it's picked up. It's Darius Leonard, a pick six for the Maniac. Touchdown, I-N-D-Y. Yes, sir.
Was kept alive by Oladipo. And Sabonis with a left hand.
John, I have never been better to be on the air with you here in Indianapolis, a place where so many of my dreams have come true.
The Ride with JMV on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Welcome to the show. We are live today from Twin Peaks. I'd love to see you up here. Love to see you hang out with us a little bit. Quick shout to my man Harley D, who was here when I got here. Always good to see that bright and smiling face, too, especially on a day like today, where you get the news this morning that our great friend Robin Miller has passed away at the age of 71. And normally I feel pretty comfortable in what I have to say and how I'm saying it. This one's a little bit tougher. And I'll tell you why, and I'm going to be joined by a lot of folks today that can also help spread that particular word. And I'm assuming it's probably not going to be as difficult for them as it is for me. And believe me, I know that, from the Bill and David Benners, we'll have Mike Chappell on coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. We'll, of course, talk Colts, but Mike has a deeply rooted friendship with Robin Miller as well. We'll talk to Rick Venturi coming up here in the 4 o'clock hour. Rick and Robin were both tight, and, we'll still do what we normally do here as well. Julian Blackmon of the Colts is going to join us, and we'll just talk specifically there with the Colts and camp and preparation for Detroit and that third and final preseason game coming up on Friday. But I was struggling with it from this standpoint because it is incredibly sad for all of us. This is a legendary Indianapolis figure here. He just is. I mean, so many years, so many sports, so many relationships. But the one thing that I've always hung on to as far as R is concerned, and believe me, R's concern was always about you before it was about him. There was never a time since 2006 when Blake T was born, or 2010 when my daughter Lainey was born, that wasn't the first thing that he asked about. I mean, it was never about open wheel, it never about the Colts, it was always about that. It was about, hey, how's Christy doing? How does Christy stand for you to be gone every Saturday night playing request? I mean, it was stuff about me, and that's exactly how it was with all of his friends, and he had many. I, on a much smaller level, I mean, we knew one another basically since the mid-2000s, and I could not have been more honored to be around him. I could never repay him in what he has done for me and this show and content and your interest. I could never do that. And on a day like today, we're going to try to do that, but we're going to try to do that with words. And words that for me are hard to come by, and that's not normally the case, and here's why. As we'll bring Jake Query on here in just a second, but we were talking earlier this morning, and I don't really know what to say. I do believe I know this. I don't think that R would want us sitting around and crying all day. I think he would want us to remember the great times, the fun times, the enjoyable pleasures that we shared, whether it was talking about games or out at IMS or with Becky and the gang at Workingman's Friend, which, by the way, was just awesome. And I could not repay my debt to him enough for allowing me to be a part of that. So that's kind of where I am right now. I mean, I'm incredibly sad because he's a close friend and I'm going to miss him dearly. But I don't want to make this an incredibly somber and sad day because in my soul, I don't think that's what he would want. So I'm at a loss a little bit. And I'm going to have some friends of mine. I'm going to have them help me out while we discuss that and a lot of things that are held near and dear. But there's one thing that I think we all understand. We are going to miss him, his voice, because it has meant so much to so many different avenues over the year. Now, it is incredible, the eras, the generations in which his voice, his writing, being on TV in sweatpants that he has touched. I mean, it's been absolutely incredible. And I don't know if anybody goes down in history around here, whether it's in the sports media or the media in general, that will be held in a higher regard on so many different fronts than Robin Miller. And we will reflect on that and a lot more today, and I'm going to let you do so as well if you guys want to climb aboard at 239-1070. The email address is jmv@1070thefan.com. Shows on Twitter at jmv1070. If you guys have anything to say, you can do that at jmv1070. And I know the lounge is up and running right now. You can get on there and watch and listen, even though that there's just an empty chair. That's probably better than what normally is filling that chair. So you got the empty chair, and you've got the voice, and you guys can communicate and stuff too, man. It is a tough day, but I can't help feeling absolutely thrilled to my core that I had the opportunity to hang around and to be a part of what he had created. That will always be special, one of the more special things to me ever. Joining us now via the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, I mentioned that I was kind of at a loss for words, and I was having a conversation with our first guest today a little bit earlier. Jake Query of the IMS Radio Network joins us. We kind of came to a bit of an end here this morning about, what do you say about a guy that means so much and has meant so much to so many different eras and generations. But I think what I did come to this conclusion, Jake, after we hung up earlier this morning, I think that he would want us to be happy in our remembrance, in our conversations, and in covering this today, as certainly we will. What say you?
I think it's very well said. I would agree with that. The dichotomy there, or the challenge, I think, as you know, first off, I almost feel like I'm obligated to call you son like 3 times.
Yeah.
Johnny, let me tell you, listen, the thing here is this, and I hope that people understand this or realize this, and maybe they couldn't fully grasp it, when he was here, but Robin Miller and more so, I should say, Robin Miller more than any person that I can imagine, any single person in any capacity, whether you're talking politically, whether you're talking about athletically, administrative-wise, athlete-wise, whatever it might be. Robin Miller is the single biggest cultural pillar of this town of the last half century, and it's not close. I don't know that people know this or grasp this, and I understand that, and I respect that people may not. Take the two of us, John, for example. We were doing for a decade a radio show against one another.
Yeah.
I can't ever remember conversations I had with him. He never once, he was friends with both of us, right? He knew that we were competing technically against one another.
Right.
He would send, when he would write a column that would break a story, he would send a preview of it to both of us before he posted it.
Yeah.
Before he posted it, he's sending it to me and you, and we were 2 of like 3 people he would send it to. And so he knew that we're both, he knew we were friends, and every time I would talk to him, he would mention you and how thrilled he was for your show or how you did this or that. I mean, he literally was everyone's supportive uncle. I mean, I can't emphasize enough that every person that Robin Miller was around, he has to have the highest percentage of people that he touched in his life that would list him as their favorite person of anybody I've ever met. I mean, he knew more about the history of this town, the people of this town, the sports of this town, the tragedies of this town. This is a massive, 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 irreplaceable loss for the history and the culture and the people of this city. And there are people that may not have ever met Robin Miller that wouldn't realize and grasp, John, all of the things he did for the people that they do know and the people that he did touch. And he never met a stranger. He is the most unique individual I've ever met. And I will be honest, for years, I have thought to myself, what will life be like in Indianapolis without Robin Miller? And I didn't want to know what that would be like. I didn't want to think about it. And in terms of the physical spirit, that day is here now. And while I agree with you that it's a time to celebrate his life and the fortune we had to be able to to share it parallel with him, there's no doubt that this is a day of mourning for this city, beyond any that I've seen in a long time.
So Jake Query's with us on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. I do agree with that, and the whole personal thing too. I mentioned before I brought you on. Every time we were together, it was always about Blake and Laney and Christy. It was never really about sports. I mean, the old school stories we got at the Working Men's Friend and all those lunches and stuff, that was one thing. But it was always about what's going on in your life first. And, you look at, what is desired, I guess, by a person in the media today. Jake, it's multimedia. I mean, I know you've been told that before. I'm told that all the time. Multimedia this and multimedia that. He was like the first one that I can remember that was doing a radio show, that wrote a column, that was on TV, on Sports Locker with Mark. I mean, he was like the first one that I can remember around here that was absolutely what people desire today in their media person.
And I agree with that. But most importantly, he also is the most authentic. Yeah. What you saw was exactly what he was. I mean, wearing sweatpants. I remember when Eddie Cheever one time said to him on the air, they were doing Sports Locker, and Eddie Cheever said, "Why would I sit here and listen to a guy that came on television wearing pajamas?" and Robin, I think Robin was tickled by it, thought it was funny. I mean, and there were people. Look, he was polarizing, and there were people that didn't like him because of the. He was a flamethrower, but he was completely impervious to what people thought of him. I mean, he was the kindest, I'll tell you what, there's not a more loyal person. He didn't have any enemies. People might have considered him an enemy, but I mean, and he certainly held grudges. I mean, Robin Miller was not to the, I hate to say till the day he died, because I guess that day is here. That's a figure of speech we use. But, to the end, he put so much heart, and I think this is what really hurt him. Robin Miller put so much heart and soul into the Indianapolis Star. And by that, I mean all the way from Batesy on the front desk to Bob Collins to Mike Chappell to Bill and David Benner to Mark Ambrogi to Mark Monteith and Phil Richards and Tom Reitman, and Donna Eggert. I mean, all the people that he worked with at the Star, he was so loyal to them, and that was his family. I mean, I know his sister Diane, he told me Monday, I saw him, and he said, I mentioned his sister, and Robin said, "She's an angel, Jake. She's an angel." She is. But those people were his family. And when he was let go from the Star, I think he felt like it was a forced divorce from his family. And what I think bothered Robin so much was he assumed that the Indianapolis Star assumed that he was mad at them because he was no longer allowed to write columns for them. That's not why he was mad. He was mad because he was not able to continue to work with the people that were his family and that he cared about. And the thing about him, John, as you know, it didn't matter what position you were at the Star. When I worked at the Star as the biggest grunt of all grunts, I mean, answering phones and taking box scores of high school softball games and baseball games, I knew when I would go in for a 7 p.m. to midnight shift that I probably didn't even have to eat ahead of time because Robin Miller would be out at some dinner somewhere or some PR event, and he would order extra food to go and bring it back, and he never went home without stopping by the sports office first to make sure the grunts had food. That's just how he was. And for him to have that taken from him hurt him. He was hurt by that. But he was so loyal to everybody, and I think he truly enjoyed helping people and finding out ways that he could, and then taking pride in seeing people grow. I mean, John, he treated me and he treated you like we went to South Fort High School with him.
Yep.
I mean, he was the most authentic, true to himself person that I've ever met. And that's not hyperbolic, and that's not retroactive, and that's not, embellishment because of the fact that he's passed. He was the most authentic person I've ever met.
Yeah, that's right, too. That's something else to think about. In a world where, you get a lot of media personalities are complete opposites in reality as to the role that they're playing on TV or on radio, whether you believe that to be phony or not. I mean, oftentimes, if not a majority of the times, Jake, as you know, that's a role being played. It's not really how they are or how they feel. He was exactly the same on and off the mic, outside of the keyboard, on and off the television screen. He was absolutely the same.
So many people that he covered had such a respect for him because of the fact that he knew, if they said, hey, don't say this yet, he would hold on to it. He didn't care about being first. He didn't care about being, he was the most trusted media person in the paddock from a racing standpoint I've ever seen. It was unbelievable to me. I'd hear people that would talk, I can't stand Robin Miller and this and that. And they had the bumper stickers, Robin Miller with the slash through it and things like that during the split. And I'm thinking to myself, I've seen it up close and personal. Robin Miller could pick up his phone at 3:30 in the morning and call Mario Andretti, and Mario Andretti would see it's Robin calling, and he'd answer it because he'd be worried that Robin was going to tell him something that Mario didn't even know. You know what I mean? Like, all those guys and gals that worked in the racing. Robin had the ear of everybody. He had the trust of everybody. He'd put together – there was nothing more fun in the world than those dinners he'd put together. And, every time I talked to him, John, every time I talked to Robin, to the very end, every time I talked to him, well, Jake, you let me know. We'll get JMV and everybody together, and we'll go to Working Man's Friend every time. And then you'd go to Working Man's Friend, and I don't care if there was 2 people or 25 people. When the bill came, he's throwing elbows to make sure nobody picks up that check but him. Yep. Every time.
Yep, every time.
Best tipper in the history of this town. I'm telling you, the guy was the definition of loyalty. I told you this, John, but I'll share this. And I told you this, and I think we both got a little choked up when I told it to you because it defines Robin Miller, okay? But I went and saw him in the hospital, and I want to thank the people that I'm not going to say names, but I want to thank the people that made that possible for me to do it. It was very important to me, and maybe selfishly so. But I walk in, and there's Robin, and he's in his hospital bed. And I walk in there, and I think we both knew the realities. We didn't know the timeline, but we knew the realities. Robin looks at me and goes, Jake, how's your heart, buddy?
Yeah.
This guy's got IVs and nurses around him and fluid building up in him and leukemia attacking him. And the first thing he asks is how my heart is. Are you kidding me? And people, I'm sorry, but anybody out there that thinks that Robin Miller, because he wrote a column about a coach or an athlete that they didn't agree with, anybody that thinks he's anything other than the definition of everything you would want out of a friend and a fellow human being doesn't know what the hell they're talking about.
There's no doubt about that. Jake Query joins us. The passing of Robin Miller earlier today at the age of 71. Our friend, certainly, always. And Jake is kind enough to join us to talk about that. What's the most memorable thing? Everybody always comes up with, the split and then the back and forth that he had with Tony George. And, I bring up the awesomeness of the old scout back in the day all the time. I can't imagine anything like that would ever, and ever fly again. But, before, we had technology and smartphones and the internet. You had the old scout, which was so incredibly entertaining back in the bad old days for the Colts. And, the way he covered IU basketball, and certainly Bob Knight, and, wrote columns about the Pacers and such. Is there one memorable aspect of his professional life, whether it be racing, basketball, football, or anything else that maybe stands out to you?
Well, it's probably, imagine this in 2021, right? But Robin, I'm not even sure what year it was, but I know he's told the story before, but he wrote a column about women's basketball where he said they needed to he had gone to like a women's college basketball game or something. And he said they needed to redo the the scoring so that in women's basketball, if you hit the backboard, it was a point. If you hit the rim, it was 2 points. If you made a basket, it was 3 points, and an air ball was like a half a point. And I think it was the Franklin College women's team got offended by it. I mean, rightly and understandably so, and challenged him. So he got together a group of guys from the Star, Ralph Leonard, Tony, and a bunch of guys that worked for the Star, got them together, and they played the Franklin College women's team after a Pacers game for charity. And he, puts these guys together and tries to get them to run an offense, and he's out there shooting free throws and the whole deal. I think they ended up winning the game, actually, but he just got the biggest kick out of that. He was so tickled by the fact that they reached out to him and he got these guys to play. And then, you'd go to the state fair with Robin, and he's the only person I know that could hit 6 out of 10 of the free throws at those state fair that are completely designed to, of course, not allow anybody to make one.
Yeah, exactly.
And the biggest thing that he would do, and you know what? And I'm being dead serious when I say this. I saw Robin Miller be able to do a lot of things that I think were neat for Robin Miller. I saw him be able to present Bob Jenkins with the award that was named for Robin. I saw Robin when he was inducted in the Motorsports Hall of Fame. I don't pretend to be there with him like a Chapp or the Benners or those guys, but I was around him a fair amount. Shunk certainly was, the definition of loyalty and friendship to him, but and Ralph, his buddy Ralph, but when you would see Robin when he would win prizes at the state fair and then look around and look for a little kid that was coming through the state fair that might never have in their life gotten a stuffed animal, and to see the look on Robin's face when he was able to go and give a kid a stuffed animal, that was the best. It was the best, and it was a tradition. He also, by the way, in about late 60s, early 70s, he managed to get press passes for about 6 of his buddies from Southport to go to a Chicago White Sox game to go see the Yankees. And he took them all in the locker room, and or the clubhouse, and they're in the clubhouse, and they wanted to see the Yankees. And I won't say names here, but one of Robin's lifelong best friends from high school, and Robin's thinking to himself, oh, my God, what have I done? I got all these guys press passes, and the White Sox are going to figure out that I'm completely full of crap here, and, none of these guys are actually working for the Star like I said they are. So Robin's trying to write a column. He's in the auxiliary press box, and the guy comes up in the second inning, the PR director, and goes, "Hey, man, listen, you want your buddies to come up here and have fun and drink a beer and watch the game, and you try to give it there for free. I get it. I totally get it. But listen, they just shut down the buffet in the media center. They've completely eaten out all the hot dogs. They've got rid." And Robin's going, "Oh my goodness!" So after the game, he goes in the clubhouse to act like he's covering things. And one of the guys for the Yankees comes out of the shower, and one of Robin's buddies is so impressed by the stature, I'll leave it at that, of his buddy that he yells out, "Holy cow, look at the blank on blank," at the top of his lungs. And they all got run out of Comiskey Park. "Don't ever come back here again." And Robin said, I thought for sure I was losing my credential. Jake, buddy, let me tell you, I thought I was losing my credential, and I was never covering another game. But that's just how he was. Like, what he had access to and what he was able to do was what all of his friends had access to and what he wanted all of his friends to be able to enjoy. That's just how he was in everything that he went about.
Yep. I mean, it was an incredible life lived. I don't think there's any doubt about that. 71 years of age, and I'm gonna miss those working men's friend. That was so enjoyable. I mean, what a great time.
The easiest way I can say it is, and I know Robin had a great life, and I'm happy for Robin that he didn't struggle in the end. Once he knew his reality, and I'm happy that he did not go through a tremendous amount of pain. So for that, I'm happy for him. But selfishly speaking, I love this town. I grew up in this town. I love this town and this state. You're the same as I am in that regard. We love Channel 4, and we love Cowboy Bob and all that stuff. Selfishly speaking, I wish Robin could have lived to 142 instead of 71, because quite frankly, I want to live in the best version of this city I can live in. And it's impossible moving forward for me to live in a version of this city that could be any better than it was when Robin Miller was living in it, because a small part of this city died today, undoubtedly.
So
and
Jake Query
for me,
with us.
That's the way I look at it.
I completely agree. That's exactly how I feel too. Those stories are great. Like Shunk, you bring up Steve Shunk, and I went with him backstage to see Howard Jones and a bunch of '80s new wave bands, a couple 3 or 4 years ago, and then probably for a month after that, R would call me and when are you going to see these? Who are these? Who is it? Howard who? And would always question that and why. It is awesome. And you're right, man. There's going to be a hole. There's going to be an unfilled hole around here for a long time. There's no question about that with his passing today, Jake.
No doubt. And again, I want to be sure, his sister Diane, Steve Shunk, his buddy Ralph, Mike Chappell, David Benner, Bill Benner, all those that were Billy Shepard that were around him. I mean, I want to offer condolences to all of them, because Robin had a unique ability to be the bridge and the magnet that connected all the way from Tony Holman to Andrew Luck. He bridged and connected so many people in so many ways from so many backgrounds. And I think we should celebrate the fact that he brings us all together. But at the same time, I thank him for that, but I also send out my sympathies and my condolences to those guys and gals that were really on the inner circle with him for many, many years. And I know that the hole and the void created for them now is, I feel that pain. I do. It's a sad day, but man, what a life. Like you said, man, what a life. Bill and David Benner, and, we'll talk to Mike Chappell a little bit later on too. And you're thinking back to, those are some legendary times. Even that's when media was pretty awesome around here, TV wise, back in the day. You had Mark Patrick and Ed Sorensen, and you had legitimate battles going on, right? To watch, any sportscast or any newscast, any weather update, any after the normal show, kind of Sports Locker, Sports Nuts, whatever. It was a legitimate battle back in the day. He was a huge part of it. Oh, and you're talking about a guy, I'm going to say it only because he was so proud of talking about it. You're talking about a guy that flunked out of Ball State, wanted to just get into sports somehow, got a job at the Star taking phone calls. Two guys go out for a long lunch, end up getting too drunk to write their story that night. Robin writes a column, and the next thing you know, he's traveling with the Indiana Pacers, and he's got players for the Pacers. When they come back from a road game, their mistress is waiting for them in the parking lot, and they're like, "Oh man, my wife is here, and I didn't know my girlfriend was going to be here too. Robin, take her to the hotel and act like that's your girlfriend, so my wife doesn't find out." And Robin's like, "Okay." He's doing whatever. The guy was Walter Mitty and Forrest Gump all wrapped into one, and Jimmy Olsen. He literally was all of that wrapped into one. It's an unbelievable story. If you wrote a book about it, people wouldn't even believe it. They wouldn't believe it.
I agree. And stuff like that's just not going to be seen again either. It just won't happen.
No question.
No question. First of all, I don't think our media anymore, you're not going to be able to have the longevity any longer to do that. So,
and the bigger thing is this. In media today, what do people care about? They care about how many likes they're going to get, how much attention they're going to get to their picture they posted, or whatever, right?
Right.
Robin didn't have a Twitter account. Robin certainly didn't care about likes. Robin Miller was able to open up a gabillion doors because he wasn't overly consumed with where the hallway was taking him. That's the whole point. That's what made him brilliant. That's what was so beautiful about him. In today's day, he never would have gotten an opportunity to begin with because he didn't graduate from college. It's a totally different era, and he's the first to say it. Listen, today's day, nobody would have been able to be as lucky as I have. But he created his own luck, and he capitalized on it once the chance was given because he had an unbelievable talent, and that talent was of connecting humanity. That was his talent.
Indeed. Jake Query, nobody could have said that better with us via the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline on our friend Robin Miller and his passing earlier today. at the age of 71. Man, I appreciate you hopping on here. I know we were kind of wondering earlier this morning exactly what we might be saying, and you did one hell of a job of it. I appreciate you.
I appreciate it, John. It's not the best of circumstances, but I like your approach on it and the fact that celebrate him to death, man. Well, that's the wrong way, but celebrate the heck out of him because he was the man. There's no doubt about it.
He was. Thanks, man. We'll be in touch. See you,
right.
Jake. Jake Query there via the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, and Robin Miller passed away today at the age of 71 and meant so much. Exactly. I don't think you could have put it any better than Jake just put that with us. All right, we'll take a break and we'll come back. I'm live at Twin Peaks today. We've got some ice-cold beers flowing right now. Harley D is here. I see Tony D here. Tony D is also a huge, as you well know, being a part of this show prior, a huge friend of R. Miller as well. So's Rick Venturi. Rick Venturi will join us at the top of the hour. Yeah, we'll talk about R. We'll ask Rick some things. Rick, of course, part of the television broadcast coming up on Friday night of that preseason Game 3, the finale in the preseason for the Colts on the road at Ford Field in Detroit. You got Rick and Greg and Lara Overton, and Rick's going to join us coming up at the top of the 4 o'clock hour. Julian Blackmon of the Colts will be with us, and you may not find a better interview in that locker room. I know we probably say that a lot, and you probably go, okay, another one. But no, you may not find a better interview in that locker room than you will Julian Blackmon. And he's going to join us coming up at 4:30 today. And more on the Colts in their final day up in Westfield at Grand Park with Mike Chappell and obviously the memory of Robin Miller from a close friend, Mike Chappell, as well, coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Twin Peaks, we're on the northeast side. Love for you to come out and join us, and we'll tip one back in honor of our friend, the great Robin Miller, who passed away today at the age of 71. If you guys want to share some thoughts on anything, 239-1070, you can certainly do that. Email address is jmv@1070thefan.com. Shows on Twitter at jmv1070 and Inside the Lounge via YouTube Live. Streaming, if you're watching via YouTube Live, if you hit the app, or just listening, thank you very much for doing it however you can, alongside 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
Sports Center updates on The Fan are brought to you by Big O Tires. It's the Big O Tires anniversary sale now through September 6th. Save up to $150 off a set of Big O brand tires. Big O Tires, the team you trust.
We go out as a group of guys, some former players, and they are just blown away with how great my hair looks. I did the multi-unit hair grafting because I was tired of having to wear a hat.
My friend Rick DeMully, Indiana's own former professional football player, and I both know We Grow Hair Indy is the most trusted medical hair restoration clinic and the only company in the Midwest that has the Artist Robotic FUE and multi-unit hair grafting. Call 888-724-5129 or go to WeGrowHairIndy.com. We Grow Hair Indy PRP Treatments helps me keep my non-transplanted hair. Takes about 45 minutes, and this busy world, it's perfect.
Having the hair that I have now has just given me confidence and just making me feel good about myself.
This year, restore your confidence and grow your hair back. Call for a free in-office or virtual evaluation. 888-724-5129 or WeGrowHairIndy.com. Today, that's 888-724-5129.
The first bet on Caesars Sportsbook app is up to $5,000 risk-free, people. When I told my team about the idea, they said I was being too wonderful and magnificent. But I don't care how awesome this makes me. I'm doing this for the people. So just download the app, and that first bet is up to $5,000 risk-free. Caesar made an app for the people.
Must be 21. Offer valid in Indiana only and for new players. Paid in bet credits. Terms and conditions apply. See Caesars.com/promos. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Ah, summertime, and the refi is easy. With home values soaring and interest rates at a historic low 2.25%, now is the time to let Golden Oak Lending help you tap into your growing home equity. But home values this high and rates this low won't be around forever. Visit GoldenOakLending.com today and enjoy the feeling of summer all year long.
NMLS 114937, 2.25% fixed, 3.195% APR. FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
Hi, we're OfferPad, the new way homes are sold. Go to OfferPad.com, tell us about your home, and we'll send you a great cash offer. Or, if that's not your style, we can also list your home with tons of free OfferPad services, free handyman fixes, house cleaning, yard work, and more to get your home show ready. We can even advance renovation costs to maximize your home's value. Whatever way you want to sell, you're sold with OfferPad. Sell your way today at OfferPad.com. Terms and conditions apply. Real estate brokerage services provided by OfferPad Brokerage LLC. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey, JMV here for Love Heating and Air, 317-353-2141. Love-HVAC.com today. Hey, listen, at least up here on the northeast side, we had storms roll through, so the temps didn't peg as we thought they were going to today. But believe me, the rest of the week, it is going to be in the 90s and hot and humid. We want to make sure that your system is doing cooling-wise what it should. So make sure you got that number in your back pocket for John and Chris Love. They're the absolute best. Whether you need a tune-up or maybe some new equipment, they are there for you at all times. It's Love Heating and Air. John and Chris Love at 317-353-2141 online. Love-HVAC.com today.
Health insurance companies are expected to carry health benefits, but CareSource does so much more. We look beyond doctors' offices and hospitals to see the challenges that face our members. Then we help them achieve not just better health, but better lives. Along with Healthy Indiana plan benefits, we help our members find stable jobs, housing, childcare, and rides so they can find greater independence. At CareSource, we're removing barriers, we're improving lives, we're reimagining health insurance.
Korn, live in concert. Summer Tour 2021. With special guest, Stained, for one epic night. This Saturday at Ruoff Music Center. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Korn with special guest, Stained. Check more at kornofficial.com. Part of the Coors Light concert series.
Never be the same again.
When it comes to working at Geico, our best advocates are our employees, like Janet. But since she is so focused on growing her career, we hired an actor to read her story.
At Geico, we really help each other. If anything comes up, we work through it as a group, so we all learn.
As a full-time employee, she can also get paid benefits like medical, dental, vision, and parental leave. She even got a plaque for her desk that says, "I'm kind of a big deal." Yeah, you are, Janet.
Ready to start your career, Indy? We're hiring claim sales and service agents. Apply online today at geico.job/Indy.
The NFL is back, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is giving all new players a can't-miss offer for Week 1. Bet just $1 on any NFL team during the first week of the season. Receive $200 in free bets instantly, no matter what. You heard right. DraftKings giving all new players $200 in free bets instantly when you place a bet of $1 or more on any Week 1 game. Head to the app now. Check out all the great promotions and daily odds boosts. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code WFNI to receive $200 in free bets when you place a $1 bet on any game Week 1. That's code WFNI for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. You gotta be 21 or older. Indiana only. New customers only. Restrictions do apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for all the details. Gambling problem and want help? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Donating plasma is an important thing to do.
But why?
Well, because it helps make life-changing medicines that treat people with rare diseases.
But why?
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
But why?
You sound like Grandma.
But why?
You tell me, buddy. BioLife Plasma Services needs life-saving plasma, which is why new donors could earn up to $1,100 in the first month. So go ahead and take a break from all the questions and change some lives while you're at it. BioLife. There's purpose in your plasma. Visit biolifeplasma.com to learn more.
Kurt Cavan here for Thorpe Real Estate. We've talked sports for years. Now let's talk about buying or selling your home. 317-622-8350.
Be listening to 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan for Inside IU Football with Coach Tom Allen starting September 1st, Wednesday at 7:05 p.m.
The Ride with JMV.
Look at all those ding-dongs.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hey, welcome back. Northeast Side's our location. Castleton. We're at Twin Peaks. If you guys want to slide by, have a couple of beers with us. That'd be fantastic. In Northeast Side at Twin Peaks is where we are today. A little bit later on in the show, Julian Blackmon of the Colts is going to join us. We got Mike Chappell. We've got Rick Venturi all coming up. And if you missed Jake Query, and we were both talking about it, and Jake put it so well regarding the passing earlier today of our friend Robin Miller at the age of 71. You can double back and listen to the podcast at 1075thefan.com. Right now, a little bit later on, whenever, at your convenience, because that was a really good conversation about someone that will never be forgotten around here, that meant so much to so many. Publicly, privately, so many. All right, 239-1070 is the number. Let's go to the phones, and Steve is up first today. Hello, Steve. How are you?
JMV, how you doing, my man?
I am great, Steve. What's happening other than obviously the news today? But I'm trying to. I just got the feeling that R would want would want us to be jovial, and we're trying to be jovial. So as much as we can. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I had the fortune of meeting Robin probably in '95. Me and a friend met him on several trips to Vegas on the ATA, and became friends with him. Always ran into him in the newsstands. Anybody knows R. Miller knows he loved magazines of all kinds. He'd buy
no doubt
$100 worth of magazines from the newsstand, and very generous and just really a great guy. And I was fortunate to know him a little bit and go to Vegas with him several times, meet Rick Mounts, meet Billy Keller, and I don't really think you can cover Robin Miller in one day, so I'm hoping as the days go on you can get more people, because I start thinking about people like Jim Barber. I start thinking about Mark, all these people beyond even what you can possibly get in a day. I mean, there's just so many other people, but like Margot Klain, Dave Despain, it's just it's endless, really, if you start thinking about it. And I know you can't get everybody, but I sure would like to hear from Jim Barber. And I remember listening to their show, and, even when things were bad, they would cover the World Cup and the yacht racing. And I think one time, I believe they even got Dennis Conner on the phone one time. But
I think, they did. I remember that. They absolutely did. That's a great recall right there. Yeah, hey, Steve, thank you for the call too.
Thank you.
There's no doubt. Those are all great names, and that's probably something in the future we need to catch up with a lot of those folks. And those are some great times. JMV, I completely enjoyed listening to you and Robin. Was he the guy that arranged the interviews you had with Rick Mount? Yeah, there's no doubt about it, because he's the only guy that could get him to do it. He's also the guy that arranged and agreed to go on. If you remember, one of my first things coming over here from the other station was having Robin and Tony George in studio together, and that was spectacular. Absolutely spectacular. That's one of those where you just kind of sit back and you let everybody else talk. I said like 3 words, and that's the way it should be. Mark is up next at 239-1070. Hello, Mark.
Hey, JMV. I want to, say, a lot of legacy of Indianapolis was lost today, but, my first memories of reading a Robin Miller column were more, not so much on racing, but the Pacers.
Yep.
And the legacy that we've lost with the Pacers between Slick and Dick Tinkham and now Robin and, Mike Storin. I mean, that's the original group of 4, really, with the Pacers, and a lot of the history that we've lost there, too. And, thank you for having Jake Query on the air today. Another really good place to find a good, I'll say, legacy story of Robin is his friend John Orvitz. Oreo, that everybody knows in the racing community, has a great, I'll call it an article, and lots of pictures of he and Robin through the years, and how Robin basically, just like with Jake, got him his start in racing. And, Robin was just a very kind-hearted guy, and like you said, he was very authentic. If he hated you, you knew it. If he loved you, you knew it. and just a really great guy. And you know what? Today may not be the day to ask this question, but I'm going to end on hopefully a high note. And you can put this out there. I haven't heard, so maybe I'm the last to know. But is Robin the old scout?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he said that plenty of times before, yeah.
Okay, like I said, I'm the last to know.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I mean, he'd said it. Yeah, he'd said it a number of times. I don't know. He may have alluded to that even going back to the days of Mark Patrick when I was the producer for Mark over at NDE. Sure. I think he'd alluded to that before. But we often brought up the old scout, and he told the story about how, for example, Jack Trudeau, he knew that Robin was the old scout, but what's his name? The tight end, Pat Beach. Pat Beach from back in the day. He didn't know. Yeah. And I guess Pat Beach was always trying to find out who the old scout was. And Trudeau was true to his word and never gave up for being the old scout and never told anybody else in that locker room. But, yeah, like Pat Beach especially, I think, was one that would just be outraged by the stuff if it was said about him, the old scout would say. But, yeah, he talked about that a number of times. We didn't get too in-depth in it, but it's classic stuff. I mean, it really is stuff that certainly wouldn't be done today because, I mean, now everybody has a pulpit to be anonymous if they want to now. It was just different back then. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. It sure was. And to kind of once again keep this on a positive note, I hope my two friends, Gordon Kirby and Oreo, are having a toast right now or later this evening to Robin because, basically he, like I said, very kind-hearted guy, and he did right for a lot of people.
No doubt about that. Mark, thank you for the call. Quick break. We'll return. Twin Peaks, live on the Northeast side, and talking about mourning, certainly, but also celebrating an incredible life and certainly a hole in what we're going to have sports, media-wise, and friendship-wise around here for so many. And the passing of Robin Miller earlier today at the age of 71. So we're discussing that. And we still got the final day of Colts camp was earlier today up in Westfield. We'll go over that and more with Rick Venturi, top of the hour, Mike Chappell, 5 o'clock hour. Julian Blackmon's going to be on here in the 4 o'clock hour as well. 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
Bud Light tailgates are back on Georgia Street this season before Colts home games. Our next game is on September 12th. Stop by for $3 Bud Lights, food, music, and more.
Hey guys, have you been thinking about a vasectomy but keep putting it off? Schedule your procedure today for a Thursday or Friday and take the weekend to relax and recover. It's a perfect excuse to binge watch and hoard the TV remote. My vasectomy at Urology of Indiana was simple and took only about 15 minutes. Soon after, I was out the door and on my way home. During my recovery, I took ibuprofen and was back at my office in 3 days. The physicians at Urology of Indiana are board certified and have over 130 years of history in Indiana. They perform vasectomies every day of the week, all year long, and are pros at what they do. And they have multiple vasectomy clinics, so chances are good there's one close to you. Now's the perfect time for a vasectomy. Schedule your appointment online today with Urology of Indiana at vasectomyindy.com. That's vasectomyindy.com. vasectomyindy.com.
Hey, JMV here for BullseyeEventGroup.com. Colts VIP Tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. You know, you love your game day experience, right? But it's more than just a football game. It's the pregame party. All you can eat, all you can drink. You got celebrity chef Aaron May. You've got DJ Skids. You got DJ Helicon with the entertainment. Bullseye Event Center right across the street from Lucas Oil Stadium. But you want to do it all together. Gotcha. How about comboing up VIP passes to the Colts VIP tailgate with BullseyeEventGroup.com and tickets to the games. And begin to think about that because weeks 1 and 2 are upcoming here of the regular season, both home dates. And you can combo that thing up right now. The Colts VIP tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration and tickets to the game with BullseyeEventGroup.com. Get your passes today.
Did you see that Kwity Paye sack from Saturday night? Currently, you can find Paye NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year odds hovering around plus 1,000. And that brings us to Prop Swap, where you can buy or sell player props as well as team props at any point during the season. Luke Pergandy, co-owner of PropSwap, is on the line right now. And Luke, of all the player props, honestly, for the Colts, this might be the most enticing. And you guys already have plenty of player props available for this coming NFL season.
Quiddy Pay is a perfect example. 10-1 is great. So what everyone should be doing, if you think this is an interesting bet, is go buy 2 tickets at Winter Circle or wherever your nearest sportsbook is. You can get paper tickets. Buy 2 tickets, spend whatever, $20 on each of them. And if he has a good first quarter of the season, list one of those for sale on PropSwap at new odds of 3-1, get 3x what you paid for it, and hold on to the other one for some upside.
Exactly. And the Colts also, there's some tickets available on your guys' site right now and app to win the AFC South or win the AFC as well. And PropSwap 2.0, we've been talking about it a little bit here in recent weeks. That is now live. Let our listeners know what they're going to find on the app and on the website.
As of this week, we are now live. Some features that people have been really excited about are usernames. Before it was kind of blind who we were buying and selling from. Now you can say, hey, like, I bought a ticket from this guy and he made me some money, so let me go buy some more from him. And then also the ability to sort all of the tickets by value. So, okay, give me the best price ticket on the site, whether that's a Colts ticket or a Yankees ticket or Tampa Bay Bucks ticket. Just show me the best price ticket versus whatever the current market is at. If you can get discounts, that's the name of the game in sports betting.
There's never been a better time to join now. Use promo code FREE100 to receive 100% deposit bonus up to $100. Check out PropSwap.com or download the free PropSwap app today.
Hey, John, for PAI, WeGrowHairIndy.com. If you're looking for a way to regrow your hair, regenerate your hair, and have it being, well, real, right? That's the way you want it. Darren Andrews, 888-724-5129. He'll tell you all about the procedures at PAI. So easy. And if you want your real growing hair again, this is the play. 888-724-5129. WeGrowHairIndy.com today.
Summertime, and the refi is easy. With home values soaring and interest rates at a historic low 2.25%, now is the time to let Golden Oak Lending help you tap into your growing home equity. But home values this high and rates this low won't be around forever. Visit GoldenOakLending.com today and enjoy the feeling of summer all year long.
NMLS 114937, 2.25% fixed, 3.195% APR. FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
The wait is over. The live event you've been waiting for is here. Zach Brown Band, live. The Comeback Tour, this Friday night, Ruoff Music Center. The multi-platinum, Grammy Award-winning Zach Brown Band with special guests Teddy Swims and Ashlyn Kraft. Tickets are on sale now at LiveNation.com. Zach Brown Band, live.
Well, the install of your new Anderson 400 Series windows is done. They look great. Piece of cake to install. I have them in my own home.
We love them, John.
Beautiful. They really last, so you won't be needing me to fix anything either. This is probably goodbye. Take care.
That was a tough goodbye. Worse than when the kids went to college.
I love our windows, but John was our contractor.
Anderson 400 Series are the windows contractors trust most. Learn more at AndersonWindows.com. 2020 Anderson Brand Survey of U.S. Contractors. Visit AndersonWindows.com for warranty details.
Last year, our average client received almost $40,000 at closing from an easy cash-out refinance. TheHomeLoanExpert.com.
NMLS number 1326-241.
Soccer Saturday featuring Indy 11. If this is your football, this is your show. Saturday at 9 on The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
Just an average guy with exceptional hair.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hey, welcome back. We're on the northeast side. We are in Castleton at Twin Peaks. Thank you for joining us. Jake Guerra is really good at the beginning of the hour talking about the passing of Robin Miller. We have that we'll continue to talk about. Rick Venturi can get you with that, certainly, because he absolutely thoroughly enjoyed being around whether it was a part of our show or well before that with Rick's days here with the Colts. Rick's going to join us top of the hour. We'll discuss that. Julian Blackmon of the Colts D, bottom of the 4 o'clock hour. And Mike Chappell, longtime friend and colleague of R. Miller, coming up in the 5 o'clock hour as well. Quick couple of tidbits before we hit another break here and get to Rick Venturi, top of the hour. And he can go a little bit further on this too, but seems like that they are feeling better and more confident about Carson Wentz in week number 1. That will be a story we continue to follow. And Frank Reich and Dan Campbell got together, the two coaches of the Lions and the Colts, about Friday, and apparently the Lions aren't going to play too many starters, therefore the Colts probably aren't going to play too many starters too much, so should be interesting what we see coming up on Friday in that preseason game number 3 finale in Detroit at Ford Field. All right, quick break and we'll return. We're live on the Northeast Side. We're in Castleton at Twin Peaks, and our friend Rick Venturi joins us coming up on the other side. We'll talk some football, but certainly a great deal of reflection on the passing of our friend Robin Miller earlier today at the age of 71. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
So then I dropped some garlic and croutons on there, and the rest is salad history. I made the best salad ever, people. And now I'm making the best app. The Caesar Sportsbook app got live in-game betting, parlays, and Caesar rewards. Caesar salad ain't got nothing on my app. Nothing.
Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. Download the Caesar Sportsbook app. Your app is ready, Emperor.
Hey, Johnny, for Forum Credit Union. Indeed, it's Forum Credit Union. And did you know one of the easiest ways to save money every month is to reevaluate how much you're paying for home and auto insurance? It is true, and Forum Credit Union can help with the Forum Insurance Services, whose agents are ready to give you a fast, no-obligation quote from multiple companies. Forum Insurance Services can help with renter's insurance looks, with pet, with wedding insurance, all that and then some with Kevin and the gang at Forum Credit Union. Stop by a branch location to find out more or for more info online. That's forumcu.com today.
Indy 11 is back home again for 4 straight Saturdays at Carroll Stadium. Secure the best seats to watch your boys in blue now at Indy11.com. Join Indiana's team this Saturday for Bob Ross Night, featuring an auction of player-created paintings and an art supply drive, both benefiting Teachers' Treasures. The Homestead rolls on with games on Saturday, September 4th, 11th, and 18th, all featuring 7 p.m. kickoffs. Visit the ticket section of Indy11.com for seating options, including the new Heineken Party Deck featuring $3 beers. Then manage your seats and more inside the Indy 11 app.
Hey, it's Johnny for LD Smith Plumbing. Lance and his local team at 317-284-9526. The best in plumbing, no matter what level of helper you might need. Easy, more difficult, or the emergency situations where you got to have somebody there right here and right now. Lance and his local team always on the job, always having your back. The best in plumbing at one place, 317-284-9526. Lance and the local team at LD Smith Plumbing online, ldsmithplumbing.com today.
Hey gang, Greg Garrison here. Time again for the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show this weekend at the State Fairgrounds Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There's never been a more important time to exercise our rights as true Americans, and it's the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show is the place to go. See the best in sporting, hunting, and personal protection, and great displays of Americana as well. Come and see us this weekend at the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show, Friday 2 to 7, Saturday 9 to 6, and Sunday 9 to 4. The Indy 1500. We'll see you there.
Hey, it's John here for FanDuel Sportsbook. One of the things I love about FanDuel Sportsbook is you get more than just one shot to swing for the fences. And right now, new and existing users can get up to $25 back in site credit each day. Just place a minimum 5-leg baseball parlay, and if it falls one leg short, you get $25 back with parlay insurance. That is awesome. Now, in addition to the parlay insurance, if you haven't tried FanDuel Sportsbook yet, new users can place your first bet risk-free, up to $1,000 back in site credit if your bet does not win. FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code JMV. FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code JMV. 21 plus and present in Indiana. First online real money wager only for risk-free bet. Refund issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund, $25 per game. Restrictions apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Live in concert. Summer Tour 2021. With special guest, Stained for one epic night. This Saturday at Ruoff Music Center. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Korn with special guest, Stained. Check more at kornofficial.com. Part of the Coors Light concert series.
Never be the same again. 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
WIBC HD2 W298BB. WIBC HD3 W228CX. Indianapolis.
Hey, join me tomorrow. I got a co-host. The lovely Lee Ross is going to sit in here for a little bit. We'll have some hijinks, some shenanigans, and talk some Colts and some NFL betting. Join me tomorrow.
The Ride with JMV.
1, is this or is this not the XFL? Yes, it is. 2, do I or do I not currently have a pulse? Yes, I do. Let's play football.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Welcome back to Twin Peaks in Castleton. 82nd Street and I-69 is our location right now, too. A little Harley D and Tony D action up here, enjoying some cold beers on a Wednesday and morning/celebrating a fantastic life and a hole that is left, not just from a sports media legacy standpoint around here, which is absolutely true, but for many of us, a friend and a dear friend that we will miss. And Robin Miller passed away earlier this morning at the age of 71. Jake Query was so good at really saying a lot of things that I mentioned at the start of the show I was going to struggle with. And we were discussing just his legacy here, his footprint in this market forever, what he brought, certainly what he leaves. The best part about all of this to me is the fact that I got to, as a friend, be around some of that. And I can't tell you how much I value those moments, always, whether it was, coming on here or, going to Workingman's Friend or seeing him out at the track. I absolutely embrace those moments and will forever. We'll continue to discuss R and his passing as well. Mike Chappell in the 5 o'clock hour. Colts ended camp today up at Grand Park in Westfield. And Julian Blackmon is going to join us coming up at the bottom of the hour. But joining us now via the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Normally it's Colts, and maybe we do work into a little bit of that. But I wanted to make sure that I got our good friend Rick Venturi, normally the radio network, and now a part of the television broadcast with Greg Rakestraw and Lara Overton coming up on Friday at Ford Field for that preseason Game 3 with the Lions. Our good friend Rick Venturi joins us now on what is a tough day for us all, Rick, the passing of our friend Robin Miller at the age of 71.
Absolutely sad day. And the irony of it is the way it started today is I walked into Grand Park this morning to our media center, and about 5 minutes later, came in Mike Chappell. The two of us go back with Robin really all the way back to that, 1984, back in there when we came here to this town. And, he broke the news to me, and I was just so sad. And, you and I know how close you were to Robin, and you were responsible for bringing us back together. You brought us back together at your outing there a couple years ago, the pre-COVID time. But Robin, became, a great friend. It was really interesting. And, when we first got here, he was a young hotshot. He wasn't afraid to take anybody on. He was just absolutely cutting edge, really, really absolutely. And you know what? He was tough on us. And what I always remember is that in the year that I took over for Ron Meyer, basically when I took over for Ron, which was 1991. And, we were just a bad team. We were really, really struggling, and we were getting sacked and pass protection issues. And so, the media was coming down hard, including Robin. Everybody was really taking their shots. And I finally said, you know what, guys? I'm going to do something here is a little bit different, and Ballard does this all the time now. But I said, I'm going to invite all you guys in, and I'm going to let you watch film with me. Let's watch a couple hours film. Let's analyze this together. And a lot of guys didn't take it up, but Chappie did, and certainly Robin did. And Robin came over, and we watched tape together, and we analyzed that thing. And you know what? After that, he was just totally. I mean, he defended me. It was really amazing in time, and we kind of really developed a friendship through all that. But he's one of the great ones. Really, when you say leave a footprint on the city, I mean that guy has left a footprint on the city. Really, he's just magnificent, great guy. A guy you could trust. I just really will miss him.
Rick Venturi joining us on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, and I love the memory we had of being together at my golf outing, and I've had a few circumstances where I could just step away and everything was going to be much better, and that would have been one right there. I mean, you guys just talking.
Well, we hadn't seen one another for probably 27 years. And yet, when you brought us back together, it was like 5 minutes. It was incredible, and like I said, he had come to my defense many, many, many times over the years, and I really I treasure it. Really, I really appreciated it.
Well, and even further too. I mean, I saw Jim Irsay's reaction via Twitter a little bit earlier today, and took aim at the Colts, and certainly Jim a great deal as well. But there was always that incredible amount of respect that came from both sides, but certainly from the side of Jim Irsay.
No, I don't think there's any question about it. And Robin was always willing to hear your side of the story, really. I mean, that's what I always liked about it. I mean, like I said, when we went in there and we did that film session together, boy, I'll tell you what, life changed. And I think probably helped him because I gave him a little bit different perspective on the inside out. But, we hit it off great after that. And you're exactly right. I mean, he's taking his shots, but I always felt it was fair. And I always thought that, he was right most of the time.
Yeah, it's Rick Venturi who joins us now via the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. And, the hole it's going to leave here is tough. There's no doubt. And I mentioned this to Jake a little bit earlier, Rick. I mean, he was like one of the first, what they want right now out of media folks, they want the multimedia, right? And he was like one of the first to do that before you really talked about it, because he was, on TV, he was on radio, he was in print. He was doing it all back then when not everybody, if anybody, was doing it all.
Oh, he was doing it all. He was cutting edge. And, when you think about it, John, there was, certainly in my era here, there was no social media. So, I mean, those guys were Bible. I mean, you made book on those guys. There was no question about it. And, of course, when I came back, my good friends, I don't know if you remember him or not, was the, kind of the legendary John Banch, who had been there the whole time. And I knew John through the Big Ten. I had done the Skyriders when I was at Northwestern. I had covered him. So he was, even though I was, very familiar, having coached at Purdue with Indianapolis, I really didn't know anybody intimately. And one of the first guys that John introduced me to was Robin. And also, Robin, when you come into Indianapolis from outside in, and all of a sudden you see the auto racing, the Indianapolis 500, the month of May, which was so huge back then, back in those 80s and 90s, it was just a whole month. It's just crazy. And, Robin was one of those guys that just really just piqued my interest. And honestly, I've really kind of followed him throughout the years, even though, I might be in New Orleans or someplace at a distance where auto racing wasn't as big a thing. And I always followed him because I just thought he was the Bible.
Yeah, and that's like, we talk about this too. I mean, going to lunch or going to Workingman's Friend, I probably didn't say 3 words because it was completely unnecessary. I mean, you just sat there and you soaked it up.
You guys actually remind me a lot of one another. Both of you have that Indiana background. You know who you are. You don't try to be what you're not. You have, and I think both of you share this, you both had great feel for what the people of Indianapolis feel and the whole state of Indiana, what they feel, what their perspective is, and you're able to get them. You're able to get them the information that they need in the style that they need, and I think that's a strength that both you guys had, and I'm sure it pulled you both together.
Yeah, and I just remember being at the other place, and he was not allowed to come on. And when I got the gig over there, one of the first things I did is say, hey, this guy is just a wealth of knowledge, and it's not anything our push. We didn't know one another, other than I'd seen him out a couple of different times, and I said, he is such a great conversation, and then finally they let that happen, and that relationship carried over, through my time there, and then, until 2010 when I started here. And I tell you, I said this at the outset, Rick, I can't repay the guy. I never would be able to, because he just offered so much for me to somebody that he didn't know that well, but, just associated with and connected with, and that's the way he was for a lot of folks, without question.
Yeah, and I thought you really did a good job of bringing him back. Even until he got very sick, you would have him on there, and those were just great shows. Because Rahman never really pulled any punches. What you saw is what you got, and did it get him into trouble some? Yeah, but I think he was a forerunner of journalism today that isn't afraid to call it like it is.
Yeah, no doubt about that. He's Rick Venturi with us. While I have you on here as well, too, and well done on TV. How do you like the TV booth?
Well, I really like it. They're very different. Radio and TV is very different. I'm the luckiest guy in the world, to work with Greg Rakestraw on TV. I always say Greg could make the Indianapolis phone booth sound good. Whether it's high school football, soccer, or NFL, and then I'll be bouncing right back in the radio booth with Matt, who's really Mr. Indianapolis. Like I said, I'm very lucky to go both ways. I like the TV game. I think the one thing about the TV game that is really good is it's really an analyst game. On the radio, the play-by-play guy has to paint the picture. He's got to show, he's got to tell you what the game is, paint the picture, and I've got to make sure that I get what I need to get you, tell you the whys without stepping on it. The TV game, and Greg understands this totally, people see the TV game, so they see what happened. So what the TV game, what the analyst has to do is explain exactly why it happened and what is happening out there. And the thing that both Greg and I do in the preseason is he really puts the work in, as does Lara, as does myself. We're out there at practice every day, so when we get deep in that fourth quarter, we know those kids that are playing. Just like this week, there's going to be kids playing for their life. I always affectionately refer to this as the employment bowl, and but all of us go in there prepared. Matt and Lara and Greg and myself. So we really, when we go in that fourth quarter, we know those kids backwards and forwards. And a lot of people that do this, they just phone those things in, and we just won't do it. And because of that, I think we give a pretty doggone good production here to the fans locally.
So Rick Venturi is a part of the television broadcast with Greg Rakestraw and Lara Overton coming up on Fox 59. That's on Friday for the preseason finale up in Detroit. A couple of things that you've liked so far, and are you one that believes that Carson Wentz is going to be good to go for Week 1?
Well, I'll tell you, as far as likes, we would have to start there this week. I'm a Carson Wentz guy. I think he is a multi-talented guy. I think he has been a top 5 guy and can be, and I really believe he will be a top 5 guy. I am not only encouraged this week, I'm really totally excited. I didn't dream that this week I would watch him throw 90-plus passes in practice, of course, all being in 7-on-7. But John, he really looked like he never missed a beat. The separation when he steps back on the field And now the separation, no disrespect to those guys that were trying to fight it out for number 2, but when you get a real NFL quarterback, it's not a little hill difference. It's the Grand Canyon difference, to be honest with you. I mean, the kid can throw it. He can zip it when he has to. Big-time arm. He can touch it when he has to, and he can move. And what's pretty amazing is in watching – I would have thought that maybe after the first day he would have been sore and taken some time up. But as I said, he completed 3 days, threw over 90 balls, moved around, didn't seem to wince at all. And so, Dr. Porter, like I told Matt in the podcast today, he might be one of the MVPs here of the league in 221. But it looks to me, I just from what I see, and when people tell me that, this is not an injury that you can re-injure or re-hurt, I've got to be very optimistic that, that he's got a really good chance to start that opener. And I wouldn't have thought that when it happened. So, like I said, I'm very optimistic about that. I thought the two most important, I think when everybody's healthy, when we get everybody on that field, I think this is a pretty good team. I really do. I think it isn't necessarily a sexy team. It's not a team that just knocks you out, but it also is a team that when they're all there doesn't have a lot of liabilities. It really doesn't. I think the two best things that came out of Saturday night in terms of first month effect, obviously is Kwity Paye, number one. Those of us who have watched practice have seen that sack that came. We've seen plays like that. So I got to feel like that's a big deal. I also feel, and I certainly held my breath. I felt so much better Sunday morning than I did Friday afternoon, is I thought Davenport, for the first time this preseason, including practices, gave us a serviceable left tackle. I'm not going to say great left tackle, but it was a turnstile up until Saturday night, and I thought that Davenport at least solidified that to some degree. In that, you look at him and you feel like, well, there's certain things we can do, and then we're going to have to help him with certain things. But to be honest with you, before Saturday night, it was really, really scary. So, again, those two things are really, really critical, coming out of Saturday night, because those are things that we watch. And, of course, the big news really is, without question, is Wentz this week.
So Rick Venturi joins us, the television broadcast. He will be on Fox 59 coming at you on Friday evening. You mentioned the left tackle position, too, and it's funny. I got a call the other day about, hey, you're so hard on the left tackle, but you got to check out Davenport played pretty well, and you're right, and the caller was right to me. But I guess I maintain this. Is this something that you would trust going into a week one? And, I can't imagine Eric Fisher's going to be ready. Right. That seems to be way too early. And I think you're kind of holding your breath as a Colts fan that Davenport can give you something. And that in week one is going to be entirely different, I'm assuming, than what you saw the other night. Is he somebody that you could put a little bit of trust in to hold that fort down until Fisher returns?
Well, I don't think that it's, I don't think anybody's wrong by holding their breath. I'll be holding my breath because, as I said, up until Saturday night, it was a complete turnstile. Tevy really disappointed us. Holden disappointed me. And Davenport was just kind of up and down. I did think that Eason hurt him by not stepping up in the pocket on that first night. I thought that he stayed stationary, and when you get that speed rusher on the outside, the quarterback's got to step up from that 7-yard statue. You can't sit there. But we'll just have to see. I think one of the things that helps us in that first week, even that first 5 weeks, even though we're playing, very, it's Chronicle, very, very good teams from last year. But we're not playing premier edge guys. We're not playing a bunch of ambient edge guys. If the truth were to be told, Glowinski has a bigger challenge with Aaron Donald and Calais Campbell and Simmons from Tennessee. I mean, really, the premier players in the first 5 weeks really are the interior linemen. And so, it'll be interesting to watch. I don't think there's any question that you're going to go into a game and not think that you're going to help him at some point. Now, also getting Nelson getting Nelson and Kelly back is huge. I don't think that those two guys necessarily help Davenport directly, but they help him indirectly in two ways, John. Number one, when they're in the ball game, you're going to be able to run the ball better. There's no question about it. Our backup offensive line is marginal at best. I know we brought some guys in, but it's just marginal at best. But when you get those two guys in there, you're going to be able to run the ball. Now, what does that do? First of all, that puts the defensive line, a little bit off balance. They can't get in those elongated three-point stances and just come every down. So, I think that's critical. And then I think number two, along with that, if you have three outstanding linemen, which I really feel like we have three Pro Bowlers, you have Nelson, you have Kelly, and you have Braden Smith, then you don't really have to help those guys in protection. So that tells you wherever that bad threat is, I can direct the help that particular week. If it's Aaron Donald, you got to be helping Lewinsky. If you're playing a Myles Garrett, then you got to come over here and you got to help. You're going to have to help Davenport. And I would go into the game, with the idea that I know I got to help my left tackle. It's really, it's really that simple. Now, with Seattle, when we get ready, there in a couple of weeks, you got Dunlop, who's more of a shot blocker, more kind of a rim protector than he is great rusher. Hyder on the other side. Seattle's got a good ball club, but they don't have a great defense, And then when you go to the Rams, you've got a couple guys, Floyd and Hollins, but they're not ambient guys. A lot of the better players are really inside. So, I just feel, all I will tell you is I was holding my breath totally, and I feel a little bit better today than I did last Friday. Last Friday, I was really a nervous wreck because I was thinking we were going to have to play with those quarterbacks and playing with that in that left tackle situation. And I'll be honest with you, I had a nervous stomach. So, again, feel a lot better today.
So did others, too. Rick Venturi joins us. Hey, by the way, Rick and Matt Taylor do a great job of going inside football with Rick Venturi. Carson Wentz's return to practice, that's available right now at Colts.com. Again, available with he and Matt Taylor at Colts.com right now. You mentioned, Wentz in the quarterback situation, and I guess I feel good about it because it really sounds like, and especially with the path these guys have been on in the past and having to deal with, Andrew Luck stuff, and then, Jacoby Brissett, and then last year Phillip Rivers, he was healthy the entire way, but I can't imagine that Frank would be as, I don't want to, I guess I could say euphoric, as exciting and sounds when he's talking to the media about that possibility of returning. Seems like maybe he would probably, maybe not squash it, but certainly downplay it a little bit more than he has. So I feel pretty confident that Wentz is going to be good for week one. I think much like a lot of people. Are you confident at all that Eason is an adequate backup? Because there may come a point in time when he is thrust into that situation. Are you confident in it? And does it ultimately matter to you? Are they just going with what they're going with now?
Well, let's just analyze Frank here over the last 48 hours, okay? Okay. Here's the reality of that backup quarterback situation. You can pick your poison on that because here's the reality, and we're not going to play our guys. The Lions aren't going to play their guys Friday night, which to me is ridiculous. Game one was a throwaway. We played Wake Forest. We didn't really play the Carolina Panthers. We played Wake Forest on week one. So in reality, those two guys that were fighting for the backup quarterback position have only played in a realistic situation for 2 quarters, quarter one and quarter two of Minnesota, where they really looked at full-speed NFL top-line defense with top-line rush and top-line coverage. So if you evaluate them against top NFL quarterbacks, against top NFL defenses, you're going to be very nervous. I got a chuckle out of it because I've been this guy as a coach. Lara always catches Frank when he comes off at the half, and that's just part of our production. And she asked him about the quarterbacks, and he looked gray. He looked like he was sick, and he basically said, "I'll have to look at the film." Well, that translates to it's so bad I don't even want to talk about it right now. Okay?
Right.
So when, and just like myself, when you go out there Monday and all of a sudden there's number 2 and 7-on-7, and it just looks like, like I said, the difference isn't a little crevasse. It's the Grand Canyon. It's just totally, totally different. So, could you maybe get by on a short term? I'm not sure. I wouldn't go with Ellinger on a short term because I think you might be able to scheme him into some things, and you're going to have to win with the overall team. I just worry about Eason. I just see indecisiveness against the good first half, inaccuracies, no touch. It just, honest to God, they both have strengths, but they both really have warts. And, the thing you got to be careful with backups. And I learned this. It cost me my job in Indianapolis. You get comfortable and you say this guy's a backup. Now, what are you saying? Are you saying he's a good backup because when he doesn't play, and then all of a sudden you get an injury, you're one play away, and now you go in there, you're the starter, son. And those warts on those guys will come out over the long term. So yeah, I'm not settled with that at all. But I'm tremendously thrilled that number 2 looks like he's chucking it.
Yeah, it's Rick Venturi right there. The television broadcast, Fox 59, that is coming up on Friday night. He and Greg Rakestraw and Lara Overton have preseason game number 3 for you. I can't thank you enough. I love, as you know, I love and miss talking Colts with you, but I thought because of the relationship you had with R, both previous and then, obviously getting back with him a couple of years ago, was worthy of hearing about on a day like today. And I can't thank you enough for coming on here and sharing those thoughts, among other thoughts today, as always.
Well, I'm honored, John, that you thought of me under the circumstances. He was a great man, a friend, and we're going to miss him terrible.
We are. Hey, I'll stay in touch here. If you got any nuggets of knowledge, drop them on me as always. I need them.
I'll try to do the best I can Friday night.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you.
Man. All right.
So Rick Venturi right there via the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. And it was interesting, too, because R, had some columns. He had some columns on him back in the day. And then these guys got back together at a golf outing of mine, and it was pretty cool. I just, as I mentioned earlier, just kind of stepped away, and they went at it and talked and did great radio, and I just sat around and listened just like everybody else. The passing of Robin Miller today at the age of 71 certainly is what we're talking about today. Jake Query a little bit earlier. That was Rick Venturi podcast with both 1075thefan.com. Mike Chappell talks about that, his relationship, and that of the Colts coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. But on the other side, Colts camp ended up in Westfield today. Julian Blackmon is a fantastic interview on the defensive side of the football, and he is set to join us coming up on the other side. Twin Peaks on the northeast side. We're in Castleton, 93.5 and 107.5 FM The Fan.
In this crazy, madcap, contentious world, we all need something to believe in. No worries, friend. We've got you covered. Leave your troubles at the door of any Wings Etc. Grill and Pub. Walk into a brand spanking new football season full of highs and lows and good old laid-back chillin'. Get some wings or an amazing new double-stacked crispy grilled diner burger. Order an ice-cold beverage. Settle into the non-corporate-y surroundings of wood paneling and funny restroom posters and big flat screens serving up NFL Sunday Ticket. You are home, friend. You are at your locally owned sports bar. You are not alone. You are loved. That's right, love. At the end of the day, that's what we're all about. Good food, great times, love. Who can't rally around that, friends? Football is back. Come get some love at Wings Etc.
Wings Etc. with 14 Central Indiana locations, including Avon, Canby, Connorsville, Franklin, Greenfield, Indianapolis, Martinsville, Muncie, Noblesville, Plainfield, Peru, and Shelbyville.
Hey, it's JMV for FanDuel Sportsbook. I love FanDuel Sportsbook, and here's another way that you get to swing for the fences with more than one shot here, mind you. Right now, new and existing users can get up to $25 back in site credit each day. Just place a minimum 5-leg baseball parlay, and if it falls one leg short, you get up to $25 back with parlay insurance. So there are a lot of different avenues in which in baseball you can take to go at it. So go at it with this 5-leg parlay and have some parlay insurance on that bad boy with FanDuel Sportsbook right now. So you can do that. Also, new users get up to $1,000 back in site credits if your first bet does not win. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code JMV. FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code JMV, 21 plus and present in Indiana. First online real money wager only for risk-free bet. Refund issued at non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $25 per game. Restrictions apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
We buy any car. We buy any car. We buy any car. Any.
Did you know trading in your car at a dealer could cost you money? A recent study found consumers who trade in their car pay an average of $990 more. So don't trade in. Sell it to We Buy Any Car. Learn more and get your free online valuation now at WeBuyAnyCar.com.
Find out how much your car's worth at We Buy Any Car.
Ah, summertime, and the refi is easy. With home values soaring and interest rates at a historic low 2.25%, now is the time to let Golden Oak Lending help you tap into your growing home equity. But home values this high and rates this low won't be around forever. Visit GoldenOakLending.com today and enjoy the feeling of summer all year long.
NMLS 114937, 2.25% fixed, 3.195% APR. FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
Indy 11 is back home again for 4 straight Saturdays at Carroll Stadium. Secure the best seats to watch your boys in blue now at Indy11.com. Join Indiana's team this Saturday for Bob Ross Night, featuring an auction of player-created paintings and an art supply drive, both benefiting Teachers' Treasures. The Homestead rolls on with games on Saturday, September 4th, 11th, and 18th, all featuring 7 p.m. kickoffs. Visit the ticket section of Indy11.com for seating options, including the new Heineken Party Deck featuring $3 beers. Then manage your seats and more inside the Indy 11 app.
Hey, this is John here for Bullseye. Or check that. This is John here for Big Red Liquors. Big Red Liquors, 59 Indiana locations. Your chance to win one of 6 solo stoves if you slide by one of those locales and sign up today. The solo stove, great for the backyard, great for a gathering, a party, maybe a campsite. And you can win one of 6 just simply by signing up at one of the 59 Indiana locations of Big Red Liquors. No purchase necessary, but you got to be 21. Do that today, and know we're midweek, so be thinking about the weekend festivities, and that stop always includes making sure that you're set up for the weekend, courtesy of Big Red Liquors. For the location nearest you and more info online, BigRedLiquors.com today.
Bet Rivers Sportsbook is ready to make this football season one to remember. All season long, you can score at Bet Rivers Sportsbook with free bets, odds boosts, and more. With player props, thousands of game lines, and live in-game betting, Bet Rivers Sportsbook delivers a best-in-class sports betting experience and has an experienced customer service team to back it up. Visit Bet Rivers Sportsbook today and bet this football season with a local trusted team that puts you first. Go to BetRivers.com and be a winner. Partner of French Lick Casino Resort. Must be 21 or over to play. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448. Playable only in Indiana.
The wait is over. The live event you've been waiting for is here. Zach Brown Band, live. The Comeback Tour, this Friday night, Ruoff Music Center. The multi-platinum, Grammy Award-winning Zach Brown Band with special guests Teddy Swims and Ashlyn Kraft. Tickets are on sale now at LiveNation.com. Zach Brown Band, live.
The Ride with JMV.
Hey, you gonna stare all day or you gonna buy something?
I'm gonna stare all day.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Twin Peaks Castleton, our location. Thank you very much for joining us. Love to have a beer with you out here if you want to slide in. And our Our memories of Robin Miller, one of the great ones here, passing away at the age of 71 earlier today. Jake Query, Rick Venturi podcast with each. 1075thefan.com. Mike Chappell coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. But joining us now on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline in year number 2 defensively after coming back from that injury a year ago, looked really good in that Colts secondary. Julian Blackmon's with us via the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Hey, Julian, thank you for the time. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
I'm telling you, this was the last day. So on the whole here, today and then everything else up in Westfield, how do you feel that it went for you?
I think it went good. I feel like, just being able to have my first camp, because last year I wasn't able to do it. I just feel good just being able to get my feet on the ground and, just be out there with my guys, get the chemistry going for the season.
It's Julian Blackmon with us. A lot of these guys, Naheem being one, I talked to Jack Doyle a bunch about this too. It's kind of a learning experience for these camps and what to prepare for once you're actually in it. Did you take a lot of advice on how to prepare to be ready for camp, considering you didn't get to go through one a year ago?
Yeah, and I think most of it just comes from watching the older guys and their habits, just watching the habits of the guys who have been there before and who played at a high level, guys like Kari, guys like you already mentioned, Jack, Naheem, Darius, there's a lot of good leader guys on this team, and it's just fun to watch them because it helps me, it develops my game.
Did you change your preparation from what you did? And I know it's like last year, you were trying to come back from an injury, so it was completely different. But in the past, like back in college, have you changed the way that you deal with your body and prepare to play football now that you're at the NFL level?
Oh, my God, yes, immensely. Yeah, I changed a lot just coming from college and just realizing, your body is your money, so just making sure that you take care of your body. A lot of times in college, you just show up 30 minutes before practice and you're good to go. But
right.
Here, I have to take a couple hours, 3 hours to get going, just to make sure that everything's functioning correctly and making sure that everything's activated in order for me to be prepared on the field, to play at a high level on the field. So a lot of things have changed, and it's getting into a good routine. That's the biggest thing. Is just getting yourself in a good routine, and you'll be solid.
What is your routine, by the way? What have you developed? And I'm sure that's ever changing, but what is it as of the time we're talking right now?
Yeah, so usually every day I wake up at 5. I'll be at the facility by 5:30, test, and then after I test, a lot of times I'll go in and get my legs warmed up. I'll either go into the hot tub or I'll come up to the trainers and have them use a laser on my knees just to get my knees warmed up, because that's the biggest thing for me is just making sure that my knees are activated. Then I go through a core routine, get my glutes activated, and then after that, I'm probably on the field running about 30 minutes before. I'll get on the jug machine so that my hands are warm, and then practice starts, and then we're ready to go.
And I bet it feels this way. If you miss a minute of any of those, I bet you feel incredibly off, don't you?
Yeah, no, you do 100%, especially once you get into a routine that you like. As soon as you start to lack on something, you start feeling it on the field too. So you're like, okay, time to get back into things, because, you have those days where sometimes you're like, I think I could push it back 15 minutes, but then you regret it when you're at practice. So you're like, no, let's stick to the routine every day.
Yeah, your routine's your focus, I would have to think, too. That reminds you, hey, if I'm doing this every day, I'm staying focused, and if you veer away from it in any form or fashion, then you're probably going to have to recalibrate this bad boy a little bit.
Yeah. Yes, sir. And that comes with mental toughness, just making sure that you're sticking to your routine, making sure that you're disciplined in your routine. So.
It's Julian Blackmon with us at the Colts via the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. One final thing on that, too. I'm assuming in college, the people kind of, you do this and you do that, whatever. Here, it's like you. It's like, all right, now you're a man now, and we're going to be here. We're your resources, but you got to get your ass up, and you got to get in here, and you got to do all these things. You're not getting dragged around like you did, I'm assuming, in college.
Yeah, exactly. Because like you just said, you're a grown man now. So at this point, you should know how to take care of yourself in order to be ready. We don't during game days is different, because in college you have them warming you up, you have them getting you prepped. But here you have to make sure you get there early enough time and warm yourself up, get yourself ready to go. They have the trainers out there warming people up, but it's not actual warm-up like they did in college. So just making sure that, you're taking care of you, being disciplined and being a professional. That's the biggest thing.
A year ago when you came back from that injury and started, it seemed like that you acclimated to the NFL level of game and the game speed pretty much immediately. Did that at all surprise you, or did you think that, once you got healthy, you were going to be good to go and you weren't going to miss very much of a beat? Because watching you, that's kind of what it felt like initially when you first came back from the injury.
Yeah, I definitely felt like when I came back, I hadn't ran in like 8-9 months. So it was like just that intensity. You never know. Coming off an injury, no matter what anyone says, you can get out there all you want, but you just kind of timid at the beginning. But once I got going and feeling how I was supposed to feel, I felt like I didn't pick up or miss anything just because of my mental preparation. I was always behind my coach. I was always behind the starters, just making sure that I knew the calls, calling out the plays, making sure that I knew what I was doing, so that when it comes to the time, I'll be ready. So that was a big thing for me. I think that I came in and did a lot very well, but there was also some things that I lacked, just pattern reading and the quarterback and just certain formations, that I picked up on very quickly this year. So I'm very excited for this year.
Julian Blackmon joins us. Did you rely, like early on, just a lot on just football instinct and athleticism and skill, and then kind of played off of that? Is that how that might go coming back from an injury as you did mid-year last year?
Yes, like you kind of know your job. But at the same time, it was right. More like, okay, I know that I'm just as good as these guys. Obviously, my coaches trust that. That's why I'm out here. So I'm going to make sure that I can do what I can just to make plays. And then I started to realize the more you know your job, the quicker plays come to you. So it was just like, oh, okay. So if I actually stop just being an athlete and be a smart athlete, it creates turnovers. It creates plays for my team, and we want to win. So.
Was there a signature collision in that first game out there that kind of you said you don't really know how you're going to respond because it's weird coming off after an injury? Right. Was there a signature collision? I don't want to say hit because you do the hitting, but a collision out there that you had, you go, all right, I'm back now. I'm good to go.
It was my first drive of the Vikings game, my first game back. I think they threw it to the tight end, and I came and dislodged the ball from him when he caught it, and I think that for me, I was like, oh, okay, this is just like college. Let's play.
Yeah, see, I mean, I think everybody has one of those things, right? Especially when you're coming back from injury. I can't remember. Had you ever dealt with an injury in your playing days at all before?
No, not anything severe. So this was my first thing that took me out for a little bit, the ACL. But other than that, I haven't had anything that's taken me out for longer.
Hey, and you're not worried about your physicality, your skill set, your athleticism, but man, that mental thing that'll wreck you a little bit upstairs if you're not right, I would think.
Oh, 100%. And that's the biggest thing that guys have to realize. That everyone has to realize that your mental is 90% of what you're going to do. We like to say that 90% of football is mental, 10% is physical. And once you get the mental part down, you really start to realize, okay, if I'm mentally prepared and physically stressed, I'll be good.
Julian Blackmon joins us. We saw this defense a year ago make significant strides as the season went along, and especially as you became more acclimated. And I guess the question is always asked of me, how good can this Colts defense be this season? So I'll ask you, I don't know if anybody's better suited to answer this. How good as a group can you guys be this year?
I believe the sky's the limit for this group. But with that being said, we still got to go out there and practice like it. I think that everything starts with practice. You have a good couple of practices, and then you have a good game. You wonder why. It's all your practice habits. So just making sure that guys are in the right spots at all times. And, if they're not in the right spots, just hustling, because that's what we breed here for the Colts. We like to hustle. We like to play with intensity, and, we like to turn the ball over. So just making sure that we're keeping to our keys, we'll be okay.
Who do you lean on that team defensively? I guess starting right there as far as, all right, so we're in this, and am I in the right spot, and advice like that. Anybody in particular you might lean on for that?
Honestly, I feel like I'm starting to step into a leadership role.
Nice.
Where I know, for me, I know what I'm supposed to do, and I'm starting to know what everybody else is supposed to do around me. So it just helps me, because then I can, if someone doesn't know what the call is, I'll tell them, what their responsibility is, because I know everybody's position. So I think for me, that was the growth for me, and I lean on Kari. Kari Willis is the guy that I'm always going to, because he's literally like a dictionary. You go to Kari for anything, and he'll know it. So for me, it's just absorbing as much as I can from him, and then emulating that into my own game.
Hey, that dude's all business, by the way. You know what I mean? I mean, he is straight arrow, all business out there.
Yes, sir. He is. That is my brother right there. He Mr. Football. He does everything right. So that's a great guy to follow.
It's a Julian Blackmon with us. You know, it has to feel good, though. I mean, you're still a young dude. There's no doubt about it. But when guys that, you know, might be your age, might even be a tad older, but certainly maybe a little bit younger, come and ask you at such a young age, you know, should I be here? What should I do here? If they're asking you that, that's going to make you feel good, right?
Oh yeah, it's got to. And that's what you want. You want guys to be comfortable enough to, you know, come to you for questions, because that just means that you're doing your job right. So I think for me, that's the funnest thing, is just like, oh, okay, this is year 2, and people are coming to me for you know, advice, and so I just take it and try to learn as much as I can, just so I can be there for my teammates.
All right, I want to ask you this. Normally, this is a dumb question, but it just occurred to me a couple of days ago. You guys are in Buffalo. There are a handful of fans. This is a postseason game, mind you. Handful of fans. It was weird. And then you had that first preseason game against Carolina. There's like 45K in the building at Lucas Oil Stadium, and it was loud and it felt good. Which of those atmospheres felt like real football? Because normally you wouldn't compare a preseason game to a playoff game, but I think that first preseason game had so much juice and it felt so good to have the fans back. It might be a little bit different for you.
Oh, it definitely was different. I think even in Minnesota, they were just doing that school thing, and it was just really loud.
Yeah,
it was like, oh, football's back, man. Like, but yeah, just being with more fans, it was almost, you know, it's like it gets you the nerves again. It's like, okay, yeah, it's time to play, because you know that's the funnest part. You know, for us players, we love to put on a show for the fans. We love the fans, because the fans, you know, are the people who are helping us pay our bills. So it's just it's awesome having fans there, and it just makes it 10 times more fun.
That's what Jack Doyle told me a couple of days ago. He said, hey, you know, the home date was really good, but then it was real. It got real and a next level in Minneapolis.
Yes, it was nuts in Minneapolis. We were like, okay, yeah, let's play some football. It was really fun. So we're excited for a first home game, because we know that the fans are going to bring in, so are we. So.
Yeah, the one thing I want to ask you, too, you guys did that joint practice before I let you go with Carolina leading up to that preseason game. And do you like those twos, the Thursday and Friday, or could you go with one?
I think they're weird. But I definitely don't mind them. I think that it kind of gets you, you know, how can we win faster by getting a joint practice in type of mindset, I guess. I'd rather you just do one practice, though, against the opposing team. It almost seems like baseball when we're doing 2 and then playing them.
Yeah, and it was explained to me, like day 2, if you got somebody in day 1, then they were extremely pissy and were out to get you in day 2, and that kind of is the cause, the root of fights, is it not?
Oh my gosh, that's where they start, and that's why, like, you know, second practice it gets a little more intense, because guys know what to look for, and guys are like, all right, I remember what he did to me yesterday, so today watch what I do to him, type of thing, and then people start fighting, and yeah, I'm just like, you know, I'm a lover, so I'm like, all right, let's relax, man. But
hey, are you a trash talker at all?
Oh my gosh, yes, 100%.
What is the best quote in trash talk that you've ever given anybody else?
Oh man, I don't even know if it was trash talk, but I just remember Derrick Henry when I tackled him. My first tackle on him, I just told him, hey, my dad's a big fan, man. That was about the extent of that. Because my dad's a big Alabama fan, so I was like, hey, Derek, man, my dad's a big fan. He started laughing.
You're a good dude, man. But I can't lie. I was expecting something else, like stay down there or something like that. Nothing like that, huh?
No, I'll talk if someone, like, you know, it needs me to talk to them. But at the same time, I feel like once the game gets going, I start running my mouth, because it turns me up and makes me play better.
You think when you told him that your dad was a big fan, he goes, man, he's trying to tell me I'm old.
He's like, oh, all right, I'm going to run him over.
Hey, man, always a good conversation. Congratulations on the success so far. Keep doing it. And stop outside of Detroit on Friday. We'll see you Lucas Oil Stadium back-to-back for the Seahawks and the Rams to start the season. But the best of luck to you, and we'll do it again soon. Thanks, Julian.
Thank you so much. You guys have a good one.
It's Julian Blackmon right there via the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. He is always a great dude. Those are great stories. Love those stories from Julian Blackmon right there. The first day he kind of stepped in here, and for those of you that asked this, and I'll have to tell you, I told him last year, I owned it last year. Remember when I was skeptical about the selection? And people, and I don't think anybody brought this up to me this afternoon, because I had actually brought this up to him last year. He was cool with it. So, and you can see by his personality that he'd be cool with something like that. And, you know, he mentioned last year that he did, you know, coming back from that injury, he did have something to prove. And once he got back, as we were talking about a moment ago, he did prove it. I mean, he did. I mean, he fit right in pretty much immediately. You know, and obviously had some peaks and valleys along the way, but immediately he fit right in with that defense. Julian Blackmon, podcast 1075thefan.com. Twin Peaks, Northeast Side. Come and join us here. Have some beers if you so desire. Had some folks here conversing, which is always good. And we are remembering and reflecting on our good friend Robin Miller, who passed away at the age of 71 earlier today. We'll talk some Colts and have more of that reflection from one of his best friends and colleagues here at Indy. Mike Chappell is going to join us coming up after 5 o'clock. This is 93.5 and 107.5 FM The Fan.
Summer is here, so kids, tell your parents about the Forum Credit Union's Sprout of the Month contest, where you could win $100 in a Sprout account. Details at 1075thefan.com.
Summertime, and the refi is easy. With home values soaring and interest rates at a historic low 2.25%, now is the time to take advantage of a cash-out refinance from Golden Oak Lending. Your home is worth more than you think. Golden Oak Lending can help you tap into your growing home equity and pay off debts. Our average cash-out customer saves $904 a month. Woo-hoo! And remember, at Golden Oak, we speak mortgage. So if terms like cash-out refinance and no-cost appraisal make your heart race and palms sweat, don't worry. Our local lending experts love translating for our customers. But just like the warm weather, home values this high and rates this low won't be around forever. Visit us at goldenoaklending.com today and enjoy the feeling of summer all year long.
NMLS 114937, 2.25% fixed, 3.195% APR, FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
Hey, John here for CarX, the Road Ready package, especially when you're back to school and back to work right now. Just $99.99 at your local CarX, run by Joe Childers here in Central Indiana, 13 and soon to be 14, coming to Brownsburg soon. The $99.99 deal includes synthetic blend oil change, coolant exchange, tire pressure and check with a rotation, brake inspection, battery test, 2 new wipers, and you'll love being road ready. With the Road Ready package, courtesy of CarX, tell Joe Childers I sent you to a Central Indiana CarX location. To find the one nearest you online, that's CarX.com today.
When construction companies pay their workers cash under the table, Hoosiers lose out. By not paying their fair share, these companies are stealing over $405 million a year from Hoosiers. Do you know what $405 million a year could do for your community?
8,741 state troopers, 7,937 teachers, 325 miles of resurfaced highways, 112 miles of expanded highway, 783 small business loans, 9,722 new jobs.
That's a whole lot of losses. Visit indianacip.com/tax fraud to learn how you can take a stand.
John for PAI, it's WeGrowHairIndy.com. If you're looking for, well, a better way to save that hair that you have growing right now and then re-spark growth on top of your head, 888-724-5129. Darren Andrews gives you that private consultation today, and it works. Just ask me, and I'll tell you, 888-724-5129. WeGrowHairIndy.com today.
When it comes to working at Geico, our best advocates are our employees, like Justina. But since she is so focused on growing her career, we hired an actor to read her story.
At Geico, I receive support from those above me. If you want to move up, you really have that relationship and encouragement.
As a full-time employee, she can even get paid training and tuition reimbursement. Yep, there's no stopping her now. She's even taking over book club.
Ready to start your career, Indy? We're hiring claim sales and service agents. Apply online today at geico.jobs/Indy.
Why is Culver such a treat for so many families? Here's a hint. This treat is thick and creamy, and everyone can get it any way they like. Our fresh, frozen custard. We craft it in small batches throughout the day to make our guests stay, using fresh dairy from America's family farms. Shakes, cones, sundaes, concrete mixers, flavor of the day, oh, and the toppings.
Who says you can't please everyone? There's more than one way to dessert at Culver's. Welcome to Delicious.
At Culver's, we cook our butter burgers pretty much the same as you would at home. Only the freshest beef will do. We're talking the highest quality 3-cut blend, no shortcuts. Got it? Great. Then you'll need to master our signature press and sear technique. This is crucial. You may want to practice a few thousand times. Add real Wisconsin cheese, because why would you have cheese from anywhere else? Top with a lightly buttered toasted bun. Serve yourself with a big warm smile.
Better yet, come to Culver's and leave the whole cook-to-order Butterburger thing to us. Welcome to Delicious.
Hey, this is John for Connecticut. The best water out there is Connecticut, and Joe, John, and Dennis will help you get what you're looking for. The Premier Series water softener. Great prices going on right now, as well as what you're thinking about the K5 in-home drinking water station, available at fantastic prices. So if you don't have great water, meaning you don't have Connecticut water, go that next level and get it today and save. Joe, John, and Dennis in Connecticut with the two locations, northeast side, Castleton, south side, US 31 and Southport Road, the Connecticut Water app. Download that to your smartphone or device today or online, ConnecticutIndy.com.
Kurt Cavan here from Trackside. Over the years, you trusted me with your sports talk. Now let's talk real estate. I've been in business with Ralph Thorpe and Thorpe Real Estate since my days at the newspaper. And since we're a family-owned company, we can provide better personal service and keep more of your money in your pocket as you buy and sell your home. Give us a call at 317-622-8350. That's 622-8350. At Thorpe Real Estate, we can talk sports while saving you money.
The goblet has dropped. Caesars Sportsbook is here. Download it. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 and up.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Listen on air, online at 1075thefan.com, and on our free app at Google Play and on the App Store. The Ride with JMV.
It takes him a second to get on the stool because he's under 5 feet tall.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Hey, welcome back. 82nd Street and I-69. My man Paul's over there getting stuff done right now. I'm JMV. Thank you for joining us. Twin Peaks, our location. It's never a bad day to show up at Twin Peaks. One of the best around. We'll be here until around 6 o'clock. Join us, have an ice cold beer with us, and we can discuss whatever you want to. Obviously, a lot of the discussion has been around the passing at the age of 71 of our friend Robin Miller earlier today. We got the insight from Jake Query and Rick Venturi so far. If you missed either of those conversations, 1075thefan.com. Mike Chappell is going to be here coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. And Julian Blackmon, as I mentioned, is one of the best conversations on that Colts roster. If you missed that, podcast 1075thefan.com. I also wanted to give a shout out because for 3 years I worked at Channel 13 during Weekend Sunrise. I had a blast. I had not one idea of what I was doing. I mean, none, zero. Like Travis Peters, who's a cameraman and a production guy over there, did all, and I mean all, of my editing because I had no clue what to do. And basically they would edit together a bunch of stuff for me, give me about 7 or 8 minutes, and then I would go on Weekend Sunrise and give you 7 or 8 minutes of sports every 30 minutes from 6 a.m. until 10 a.m., both Saturdays and Sundays every weekend. It was a blast. It really was. And one of the relationships I built while I was over there was with Scoop Jefferson. That's Steve Jefferson, who has been there for 19 years, and our good friend Steve Jefferson of Channel 13, who has been just a valued source of information and great at what he does in reporting television-wise in this market, has accepted a job in Dallas, and I believe he is leaving at the end of this month. Shout out to Steve Jefferson. He has been fantastic, and the best of luck and well wishes moving on to the Dallas television market. Steve Jefferson, everybody, a fantastic guy who is moving on to Dallas at the end of this month. Quick break. We shall return to Twin Peaks, northeast side. Mike Chappell's going to join us next after 5 on 93.5 and 107.5 FM The Fan.
The VA loan is one of the best benefits of being in the military. You can buy a home with no money down. You can refinance and cash out up to 100% of your home's equity. And interest rates are up to a full point lower than other loans. At HeroLoan.com, we want to earn your business. We pay for the appraisal and can close your VA loan in as little as 14 days. Get the loan you deserve and apply online today at HeroLoan.com. The only way to VA.
NMLS number 1326241.
JMV here for Love Heating and Air, 317-353-2141. That's John and Chris Love. I don't know if we can honestly feel the effects today. Maybe in some spots around Indiana you can. But up here on the northeast side, for example, it stormed pretty heavy. And that kind of dialed down the incredible spikes in heat that we were supposed to get. But believe me, rest of the week is coming back. Got to make sure you're cool and comfortable in your home. And if you're not, and you can feel it, dial that number, 317-353-2141. Get John and Chris Love on the case and figure it out. Your road back to comfort is with Love Heating and Air. Online, love-hvac.com today.
As summer heats up, so does the sports betting action at BetMGM. Sign up now using bonus code THEFAN, that's all one word, and your first wager is totally risk-free up to $1,000. Place your bets on all the exciting showdowns in MLB, MLS, and much more. And when you register with BetMGM, you'll also get instant access to a variety of parlay selection features, live betting options, player props, and daily boosted odds specials. From breathtaking goals to colossal home runs, the king of sportsbooks takes every play to a whole new level of excitement. Simply download the BetMGM app today or go to BetMGM.com and enter the bonus code THEFAN. Again, that's all one word, capital T, capital F, to get back up to $1,000 on your very first wager. With BetMGM, you're just a few taps away from turning game time into showtime. New customer offer, paid and free bets. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 21 years of age or older to wager. Indiana only. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Hey, John here from Mark Dietel Realty today. Indeed, you're not going to find anybody better than Mark Dietel for whatever you need. That's Mark Dietel, Mark DIETEL.com today for a variety of reasons, whether or not you're upgrading or you're downsizing in your home. I mean, Mark's got the answers for you. I mean, he always does, and that's the key here, right? It's getting the right person to deal with, because if you don't, it could end up being a struggle. You want to get the most out of your property, your home right now, and you can do that with Mark Dietel. 317-755-4232. Again, 317-755-4232. That's online, markdietel.com, with the guarantees, by the way. Multiple offers in 3 days, or he's going to sell that for free. 317-755-4232 or online, markdietel.com today.
We buy any car. We buy any car. We buy any car. Any.
Did you know trading in your car at a dealer could cost you money? A recent study found consumers who trade in their car pay an average of $990 more. So don't trade in. Sell it to We Buy Any Car. Learn more and get your free online valuation now at WeBuyAnyCar.com.
Find out how much your car's worth at We Buy Any Car.
Hey, did you know one of the easiest ways to save money every month is to reevaluate how much you're paying for your home and auto insurance? JMV here for Kevin and the gang at Forum Credit Union. They can help with something called Forum Insurance Services, whose agents are ready to give you a fast, no-obligation quote with multiple companies. Forum Insurance Services can even help with renters, pet, and wedding insurance. Smart financial moves, once again, with my friends Kevin and the gang at Forum Credit Union. Dial in today, get that appointment at a branch location, or find out more online, forumcu.com.
Why is Culver such a treat for so many families? Here's a hint. This treat is thick and creamy, and everyone can get it any way they like. Our fresh, frozen custard. We craft it in small batches throughout the day to make our guests stay, using fresh dairy from America's family farms. Shakes, cones, sundaes, concrete mixers, flavor of the day, oh, and the toppings.
Who says you can't please everyone? There's more than one way to dessert at Culver's. Welcome to Delicious.
At Culver's, we cook our butter burgers pretty much the same as you would at home. Only the freshest beef will do. We're talking the highest quality 3-cut blend, no shortcuts. Got it? Great. Then you'll need to master our signature press and sear technique. This is crucial. You may want to practice a few thousand times. Add real Wisconsin cheese, because why would you have cheese from anywhere else? Top with a lightly buttered toasted bun. Serve yourself with a big warm smile.
Better yet, come to Culver's and leave the whole cook-to-order butter burger thing to us. Welcome to Delicious.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Listen on air, online at 1075thefan.com, and on our free app at Google Play and on the App Store. The Ride with JMV.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Twin Peaks on a Wednesday. Thank you for joining us. Got the usual suspects here with me, which is always a blast. Thank you very much for being a part. Paul's up here to help out. Northeast side 82nd and I-69. If you have time, kicking out of work here, whatever, slide by. We'll have a cold beer and talk over a lot of things, including the Colts and, of course, the passing of legendary here locally, Robin Miller, who was a friend of ours, the age of 71. Joining us now to talk a little bit more about both of those subjects, both R and the Colts, Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59. I was kind of wondering, you know him so much better and so much longer than I have. What would Robin think today if he were told that he's trending on social media?
He'd tell us to shut the F up. He just would. It's funny. I was driving to training camp today, going to Westfield, and his oncologist, Michael Dugan, and God love Michael Dugan and his people at St. Francis. He was also the oncologist for Angie. So we sort of had a connection, and he kept me as informed as he could. And he texted me at 9 o'clock that we lost Robin, and it just kind of hits you. You knew it was coming. I mean, you just did, because it's been a rough, month, 2 months, 3 months for him. And I know he was at the track for the Brickyard last weekend, and I texted him. He said, "Best day of my life." And who of us wouldn't want to kind of script going out like that? But it's, even though that it's it's coming, it still hits you. And I heard Jake earlier, and you either loved him or you didn't. I mean, Robin never gave you that fence to straddle on. You had to pick sides. And one thing, let's just be real. I mean, he had flaws. We all have flaws. Robin had flaws. He did. But I'm telling you, there was no more loyal, no more genuine, no more. There was no filter to Robin Miller. He if you didn't know where he stood, then you weren't listening, because he told you. And it's funny, when I saw we were going to talk about this today, I started jotting down some notes so I didn't forget anything. But there's so many things. I went from Anderson, I was a sports editor in Anderson in '84, and the Star was looking for a writer, and I was 30-something, so I thought, why not? And so I go for my interview at the Star in North Pennsylvania, and here I am. I'm wearing a suit and tie, which I wear suit and ties to weddings and funerals. I mean,
Yeah.
And I go in there, and Robin's the first to greet me. He's sitting there on the phone. He's got some stupid T-shirt on and sweats, and he's probably laying bets. I mean, he's probably making his day's bets. And he looked at me like, he says, "What do you want?" And I knew right then that I was overdressed and all that. But you start going through the years of R, and it's just, you think you got the most unique story, and then something else comes up, and things flash. I remember we were on the road a lot with covering the Colts back in the day, like Rick Venturi mentioned, and he would go, like Buffalo. We go to Buffalo Orchard Park, and he's walking in there with his 20-ounce Pepsi, and they confiscated it because it's a Coke Stadium. And you can imagine his reaction with some obscenities.
Yeah.
But that's just him, and what I will miss initially is we get together at tribe games or IREAs or the Working Man's Friend, and he always brings out these old manila folders with pictures and stories. And David Benner, Bill Benner, Phil Richards, Reitman, and Ambrogi, and all these guys, we've heard these stories for 10 years, and they're still funny. And it's just what he was, and things stick in your mind. And here I am rambling. But something that, for whatever reason, sticks in my mind. We're on the road, probably to a Jets game, and we stay in Newark at the Marriott there, and we generally get a cab and go to Atlantic City. It was like an hour, I think it was.
Right.
Go to the Jersey Turnpike, and you go to Atlantic City, and lose money and come home. Well, we get in with me and Robin and Fred Khalil, Channel 8.
Wow.
And Robin talked the cabbie to staying in Atlantic City and waiting for us. Like the guy said, okay, I'll do that. So then we get done around 2 o'clock in the morning. We're driving back on the turnpike, and the cab blows up. I mean, it catches fire. So we're walking down the Jersey Turnpike at 2 or 3 in the morning. Me and Robin and Fred. Fred's dragging a 6-pack of beer, and a guy stops and wants to know if we want to ride. It's one of those old station wagons, and he's got a German Shepherd in the back. And I swear to God, this guy was in the cast of Deliverance. And we got in his car because Robin thought it was a good idea. And the fact that we made it home was truly amazing. But it's just memories that almost all of them good of Robin and what he did and the impact. And I heard Jake say how it's a little less, the city's a little less, and it sounds like, hyperbole, but it's not. He was such an institution, and there can't be a better racing rider ever, a fountain of youth and if the fountain of information, and it's a sad day, but I hope, like you've tried to do, and we will hopefully get a chance at a service to where you just sit and enjoy what was, because what was it? Zach Kiefer did a great story on him in The Athletic, and what was the quote from Mario, that there was only one Robin Miller, and we can thank God for that.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's it.
I remember sitting that day when Zach was putting that together. We all went to Workingman's Friend, and you might have been there too at the time, but we were all at Workingman's Friend, and some of the quotes he was getting, it was absolute gold. I mean, you knew that thing with Zach's writing was going to be transformed. As that story was,
into
something great.
Put them all in there.
Yeah, exactly. I think about this, and Mike Chappell joins us too. That both Jake and I believe that he is the all-timer here, and this market has been blessed. There's no question with incredible personalities, sports, media, whatever. But man, he to me transitions through so many different eras and generations. There's just nobody ever been like that guy.
And at some level, he's a survivor.
Yeah.
Because he went through a lot of things, a lot of it self-imposed. I mean, let's be honest. But he took a side, whether it was IndyCar and all that, and it wasn't because he was just taking a side to be an ass. He took a side because that's what he believed in, and nothing swayed him. And the fact that he could talk so openly and honestly and critically of some of the people he covered, A.J. Foyt, I mean, how their relationship went 180 degrees.
Yep.
And that's because I guess fairness. I mean, sometimes Robin went over the line on being fair, but that's what columnists do sometimes. But to earn those guys' trust, and if Robin needed, like Jay said, if Robin needed to call somebody at 3 o'clock in the morning for something, he would, and they would pick up the phone. So, and that sort of gives you the character of a person in his profession, that he's got the respect. I remember back when the Colts weren't doing very well, and Robin was doing the columns, and he was just ripping them. I think it's when they fired Ron Meyer and half the coaching staff. And Robin's column was, well, good job, but you stopped too low. You should have got rid of the GM and the owner. And Jimmy told me, he said, as long as you guys are fair, which you could argue whether that was fair or not, but he said, talk good about us, talk bad about us, but when you quit talking about us, we're done. And for the most part, Robin really tried to be fair and was fair. He back when Bill Tobin was here and they brought in Harbaugh and some other Chicago guys. They brought in Troy Azine, the left tackle.
Yep.
And he wasn't very good, and he called him Turnstile Tony. And instead of saying that from downtown and never going to the complex, and Robin's out there the next day, and he and Azim talked about it. Now, I don't know if Robin changed his mind or not, but at least he threw comments out there. But then he was out there to face the music. Did Robin go overboard sometimes? Of course he did. There were a number of times that he did. So I laughed when Jake was talking about was it the Franklin women? Was it Franklin basketball?
Yeah, they said Franklin College, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, because they were good. They were like good. And Robin, the column also mentioned that they should shorten the court to give the illusion of speed. and they challenged us to a game, and he had all the guys in the sports, me and Benners and Phil Richards and all those guys, and now he brought a couple guys in that knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
And we beat them up pretty good. I think Robin even set the line on the game. So, he wanted to make sure we covered.
Yeah, highlight that into things that would never, ever happen today. How about that?
No question. No question.
That is it. The thing I think of most is, coming back on the air with me when I was at the other station and then starting that again, he just kind of introduced me to so many different things. And his loyalty is what always stood out, not just to somebody he didn't know like me that was trying to do a radio show. And, I had to follow somebody that also was in the hierarchy of the greatest of all time in this market as well. And, he didn't know me from anybody and, was always coming on and always gracious and gracious. Always entertaining. He was always entertaining. We got to name the dump button after him because occasionally he would drop a cuss word or two during the course of the interview. But
occasionally, yeah,
his
right.
loyalty, his loyalty to not to me, but to everybody. And I got to see that over the past 10, 15 years, really up close. In those around him and his effect he has on Bill and David Benner and you mentioned Ambro and Phil Richards, those that used to be the core group of the Star. I saw my owner, Jeff Smulyan, at Workingman's Friend about a year ago when we were all there together and how much ARM meant to him. And it was just so incredibly special that, words don't do it justice, Mike.
Yeah, we saw the last time we got together. Again, it's been the time flies. 2 months ago, 6 weeks, probably 2 months ago at Working Man's Friend, and we're all there, the core guys. And I wasn't going to miss that for the world because I just knew that it was sooner rather than later. And we're sitting there talking and going through his vanilla folder of stuff that we've heard a zillion times. And Jim Boyles walks over. And he's laying into him. Robin laying into him, probably because Jim Boyles has represented him 4 or 5 times. But that's just he's that magnet. He's that sun that everything revolves around. I don't mean that in a bad way. We with the Star core guys again, the Benners and Mark and Phil and Reitman and all those guys. We got in the tradition many years ago of going to a Tribe game one night during the summer, and just to get together. Donna Eggert, who was our glue during the Star years there, and we used to be down like in the lower level with all the people. Yeah. And after about 1 year, we all decided we need to be up in that far corner where people really don't go, because Mr. Unfiltered Robin Miller. And then we follow his cue. He's just loud and just says what's on his mind. And when he doesn't really worry about the fact that there's, Henry and Ruth and their 3 kids, sitting 3 rows from us. But that's just him, and that's what rubs people the wrong way. Some people the wrong way, but that's him. And that he's going to be missed on so many levels. You talk to loyalty. If you're in his circle, and it was a big circle, he'd give you whatever he had. He just would. And some of the stuff we know that he's done, and some of the stuff we don't know. Of course, he'd also probably give you Long's Donuts, or he'd always go to the Colts games, and he'd drop down along with his gold sheet when he's making his bets. he drops down his bag of candy. I thought he always kind of stole from trick-or-treaters on the way to the state. Those circus peanuts. I always wondered who ate circus peanuts, and it's Robin.
Yeah.
But
his diet was nothing but like candy and sugary stuff. That's what it was.
And not filtered Pepsi, but Pepsi.
Right.
But it's that's why I truly hope his sister Diane and they come up with something to where we can get together and spend time and not mourn the passing, but celebrate what he was. And if that's the case, it's going to be like a roast because Robin would not want, some of the normal remembering when he would want it to be, kind of lively and remembering the good times. And I hope if the family can figure it out and whomever, I hope there is a way that those of us, and again, it's family first. It's whatever they want. But I hope those of us who didn't really get a chance to say goodbye to him, we have that chance. And that's kind of what you do when you get to our age. Robin's 71, I'm 70, and I remember with my family, we used to get together all the time for things, Christmas and birthdays and all this stuff. And now we get together at funerals because that's kind of, you go your own way. But I hope in this case that we're given the opportunity, all of us, to just sort of get together and remember and cuss a few times in Robin's name.
Yeah, you think about Workingman's Friend, Long's Donuts, Mug and Bun, all certainly staples of. Well,
IREAs. I mean, they put us in that room, and it was kind of IREAs for the night.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's and again but that just shows you that his impact and his circle of influence, even after he left the Star, that he was just able to always maintain and grow his sphere of influence and all that. And like I said, you always like to think that whatever you do, you're pretty good at it. Robin was the best at it. He just was.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Mike Chappell, former colleague of Robin Miller, longtime friend, joins us via the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. And obviously not as important as what we're talking about now, but let me get your input a little bit on the final day of camp up in Westfield today for the Colts as they move forward, get set for preseason game number 3. So tell me a little bit about this conversation that Frank Reich and Dan Campbell had as to what's going to lead to. We thought we were going to see, some frontliners, maybe more than a couple, that now has led us maybe not to see very many, if any at all.
Yeah, now we're going to see Colts Bengals pick your year.
Yeah.
Last game. Yeah, because when talking up to Frank the last few days, his plan was to play some starters. Now, what that means, I don't know. But some. And after talking to Dan Campbell, who doesn't plan on playing his starters, Frank's sort of in the same, has said, okay. And that's kind of what coaches do. I mean, what would the serve purpose of Frank playing X number of starters against their backups? It's just, it wouldn't be fair either way. This is going to be, they have to make 27 roster moves on Tuesday, and this is going to go a long way towards giving those players on the lower third a chance to really make one last impression. And I tell you, if Frank had any inclination, he said he was on the fence about it. There was a play today where Wentz throws a deep ball down the middle to T.Y. T.Y. goes up between two safeties and comes down with it, and comes down awkwardly and spends about 2 or 3 minutes in the back of the end zone on his back with trainers looking at him. And I'm thinking, boy, that doesn't tell you to play 0 starters on Friday. Now, T.Y. got up and finished practice and all that, but it gives you pause when you see that happen in a practice, let alone a preseason game. So we're not going to see much on Friday. I don't want to diminish the value of the game because for a lot of players, this will be a last audition, if not for here, then somewhere else. But as far as the aesthetics, I think it's not going to be very pretty to watch.
All right, of these notable names you have in mind, guys that while out there on the field on Friday are going to be playing to maintain their gig. We're talking about guys we've seen on this roster that we know, name recognizable, that might struggle to make this 53-man.
I don't think any. I don't think there's going to be a name we think, oh, man, really, I didn't see that coming. Because I think, we're talking they'll probably keep 6 receivers because they've got that many worth keeping, and they like to keep 6. And you would think it's Des Patman, Michael Strawn, and Ashland Doolin. I've talked myself into keeping Strawn and Patman on the 53, and then bringing Doolin back to the practice squad, because you can activate 3 players from the practice squad, 2 or 3 on game day. So that's like an extension of your active roster. And I think there's a little bit of a risk, certainly, if you waive Strawn, they can't do that with the idea. Somebody would claim him. And Patman, they kept him last year active, so no one can claim him. I just don't see Wilkins. No, I like Wilkins. I like Wilkins as my 4th running back. We thought this was a make or break training camp for Ben Banigou, and he's earned it. He's had a great camp. I just don't see anybody who name recognition. You're going to say, oh boy, that's a surprise. I just don't. Now maybe someone's slipping my mind, but I just don't think there's going to be there. Which to me is kind of a good thing. That young players won't necessarily, maybe this breaks their string of whatever it is, 22 straight years of an undrafted rookie making the team. That's entirely possible, and you want your roster to get to the point to where, maybe there's that one guy, but you don't have all these guys, all these wannabes making your roster, because your roster is that good. I just don't see that name guy being on the cut list, just because I think the guys, the incumbents, have played well enough to maintain their position.
So Mike Chappell with us. Before I let you go, Carson Wentz, Quentin Nelson, both, in your opinion, will give it a go in week number 1 as starters. And then how far off, if we're going to throw a dart at a dartboard, might the Eric Fisher left tackle situation be? I mean, everybody's kind of overly excited, and that's a good thing, because rarely with injuries in the past with the Colts have you been able to get too excited about it. But with Wentz and Nelson, they are. But what about Fisher as well?
Yeah, I think Wentz and Nelson will be out there. I think we've seen enough from Wentz in 3 days as far as what he's put his foot through, that if that was going to be a problem, it would have been a problem. So I think he's good to go. Quentin, probably the same. Eric Fisher's interesting. The idea of him playing in that opener, they were talking 8 months, which was optimistic. I think that was had him missing the first month of the season. That's, I think, if my calendar checking is right. To me, and I'm writing about it a little bit for tomorrow, is the question is, don't you have to put him, right now he's on PUP, but I really think they need to put him on the active roster, the active 53 on Tuesday, and then decide maybe IR if he's going to miss 3 games. Because if you're on IR, you miss 3 games. You don't want to PUP him, because that's 6 games. So and if they don't do anything with him other than put him on 53, that means they're looking at, if not game 1, then game 2, and certainly game 3. So we'll know a whole lot more about Fisher on Tuesday. But everything that they've given us, and Frank's been really good about being optimistic and all that, but not saying, yeah, he'll be there, because he doesn't want us to come back and say, well, hey, you said he's going to be out there, and he's not out there. But I'm 98% sure on Wentz and Nelson, and I'm guessing Fisher's going to miss 3 games. I'm just guessing, but we'll see how quickly, once he gets back out there and actually is pushing up against 300-pound defensive linemen, they'll see how that Achilles responds. But they're going to be careful with an Achilles. This isn't like foot surgery. I don't want to minimize foot surgery, but an Achilles, you got to be really, really sure that thing's sound. So I was looking at the 1st of October for him to come back, but maybe it's a couple games sooner.
All right, so really quick, and finally with Mike Chappell. So in week number 1, let's just say Wentz is there, as we're talking about right now. Does he have more throws than Jonathan Taylor has running attempts?
Yes. Now, if you want to say, well, he had more throws than the running game has, we can get into that argument.
Right.
But I'm looking for Taylor to have 18 to 20 carries and Wentz to throw 30. Now, whether they get Hines and Marlon Mack involved as well, I want to see how close they are to 54, 46, 53, 47% run, pass run. But I am tons more optimistic now than I was when Frank comes back out there on August 2nd, his first day, and says, we're going to have surgery on Wentz today and Quentin tomorrow. And it's 5 to 12. I mean, welcome back, Frank. I mean, what else you got for us? But yeah. I'm a lot more optimistic, and it gives me encouragement looking at it, not as a fan at all, but just from covering this team, that if Wentz is out there with what amounts to 3 weeks, 2 full weeks of teamwork the next 2 weeks, and then this week, I think he's going to be ready to do his job, and he should not be a problem.
So Mike Chappell, CBS 4 and Fox 59. You can read about the latest regarding the Colts. Their preseason finale is coming up on Friday night on the road in Detroit, a game you can see, by the way, on Fox 59 and right here. And also his incredible thoughts on Robin Miller and his passing earlier today at the age of 71. I know this is really difficult. I appreciate you coming on and sharing some of those thoughts and stories because they need to be heard, and I'm glad they're heard here, and I'm glad we're not only mourning, I think, and I tried to give a really good balance to this, Mike, between mourning and celebrating, because it certainly has been a life worth mourning and celebrating both when you're talking about R.
Yeah, I just tell people to, cherish what he was, and, remember what he was, the good and the bad. I mean, because his whole person was everything. And, let's not put him on a pedestal, but let's put him up in a high regard and remember the impact he had on the sporting community, the sport, all the sports in town, all that, but just the kind of person he was. And, he demands, he earned our memories. And I just, I don't put it the right way, but I hope people remember Robin for who he was, the good and the bad, and there was tons more good than there was bad.
You got it. Hey, Mike, I appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
It's Mike Chappell right there, CBS 4 and Fox 59. Twin Peaks, Northeast Side, Castleton, 82nd and I-69 is the location right here. So you got time to join us or certainly have time to stop in. Ask for Paul, say hello, and grab yourself a meal and some of the ice-cold beer that they have waiting on you here at Twin Peaks. Race of the Day is coming up in just a little bit. We'll turn it over to you on the other side at 239-1070. Email address is jmv@1070thefan.com. Twitter at JMV1070 and Inside the Lounge via YouTube Live on a day where we have discussed the Colts and the passing of a media legend here in Robin Miller and a dear friend at the age of 71. You and me, other side on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Indianapolis. They are back. Guns N' Roses, Summer 2021, September 8th, Lucas Oil Stadium. Special guest, the debut of Mammoth WVH featuring Wolfgang Van Halen. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Guns N' Roses are back. It will be unmissable.
John with Big Red Liquors here. 6, count them 6, solo stoves to give away. 59 locations to sign up. They're giving away 6 solo stoves, good for your backyard or campsite during the month of August. These things are awesome. You will love them. And they're giving away 6 in the month of August, and all you have to do is show up at one of the 59 Big Red Liquors locations and sign up. No purchase necessary, but you got to be 21 to enter. That's Big Red Liquors, 59 Indiana locations. It is history, a tradition, making sure your party or get-together is good to go with that stop at Big Red Liquors. For more info online, bigredliquors.com today.
Bet Rivers Sportsbook is ready to make this football season one to remember. All season long, you can score at Bet Rivers Sportsbook with free bets, odds boosts, and more. With player props, thousands of game lines, and live in-game betting, Bet Rivers Sportsbook delivers a best-in-class sports betting experience and has an experienced customer service team to back it up. Visit Bet Rivers Sportsbook today and bet this football season with a local trusted team that puts you first. Go to BetRivers.com and be a winner. Partner of French Lick Casino Resort. Must be 21 or over to play. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448. Playable only in Indiana.
We buy any car. We buy any car. We buy any car. Any.
Trading in or selling your car, truck, or SUV? WeBuyAnyCar.com takes the hassle out of selling in just 3 easy steps. 1. Get your free online valuation. 2. Drive to your local car buying center. And 3. Walk out with your check in as little as 30 minutes. So don't wait. Get your free online valuation now at WeBuyAnyCar.com.
Find out how much your car's worth at We Buy Any Car.
John from BullseyeEventGroup.com. It is the Colts VIP tailgate presented by Hayes and Sons Restoration. Here's what we're going to do for you, too. You know all about that. All you can eat, all you can drink. The party's right across Capitol from Lucas Oil Stadium. But we're also going to set you up with this. Are you ready? We're going to set you up with your opportunity to get tickets to the game and combo that up. It is awesome. So, Colts VIP tailgate passes and a combo of tickets to the game. And remember, weeks 1 and 2, both home dates at Lucas Oil Stadium, both VIP tailgates with BullseyeEventGroup.com. It is presented by Hayes and Sons Restoration. Get your passes and tickets to the game comboed up today. BullseyeEventGroup.com.
Why is Culver such a treat for so many families? Here's a hint. This treat is thick and creamy, and everyone can get it any way they like. Our fresh, frozen custard. We craft it in small batches throughout the day to make our guests stay, using fresh dairy from America's family farms. Shakes, cones, sundaes, concrete mixers, flavor of the day, oh, and the toppings.
Who says you can't please everyone? There's more than one way to dessert at Culver's. Welcome to Delicious.
At Culver's, we cook our butter burgers pretty much the same as you would at home, only the freshest beef will do. We're talking the highest quality 3-cut blend, no shortcuts. Got it? Great. Then you'll need to master our signature press and sear technique. This is crucial. You may want to practice a few thousand times. Add real Wisconsin cheese, because why would you have cheese from anywhere else? Top with a lightly buttered toasted bun. Serve yourself with a big warm smile.
Better yet, come to Culver's and leave the whole cook-to-order butter burger thing to us. Welcome to Delicious.
John here for Andy Moore Buick GMC. Not too far from where I am right now, and certainly not too far for the best car buying experience in the state of Indiana. That's 131st and State Road 37. It is in Fishers. His name is Eric Wilson. And Eric Wilson will lead you down the path to not only the best car buying experience, but the best deals you will find anywhere. 0% for 72 months, nearly everything in stock right now, and you're going to see some construction. But don't let that bug you, because you don't want to miss out on these great savings. If you're in the market for a new car, truck, or van, a new ride in general, this is the place. Tell Eric Wilson that I sent you to Andy Moore Buick GMC. That's 131st and State Road 37 in Fishers.
BetMGM welcomes you to Showtime with a risk-free first bet up to $600. Simply sign up and use bonus code MGM600 and you're on your way to betting with the king of sportsbooks. Plus, with BetMGM's new one-game parlay feature, you can choose from hundreds of bet types and combinations within a single game to build a perfect parlay. All the action on all your favorite sports will be at your fingertips when you download the app or go to BetMGM.com and use bonus code MGM600 to make your first bet risk-free up to $600. Bet with confidence and turn game day into payday at BetMGM. New customer offer, paid and free bets. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 21 years or older to wager. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
It's no secret that the housing market is red hot. Get a leg up on the competition and get pre-approved now. TheHomeLoanExpert.com.
NMLS number 1326-241.
The Ride with JMV.
I got nowhere else to go.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Welcome back. Twin Peaks, Northeast Side. 82nd and I-69, thank you for joining us. A busy show today. I'll recap in a minute. Coming up before the top of the hour, Ruoff Home Mortgage Music Center coming up on Friday. Zach Brown Band. We have Zach Brown Band tickets we shall give away before the top of the hour. So that is your call to listen to win. When you hear a Zach Brown Band re-entry, that is going to be your cue. And we'll get caller 9 on that before the top of the hour. Friday is the show. Once again, Ruoff Home Mortgage Music Center. Thank you, Kyle and the gang at Live Nation, for the opportunity to get some folks up to Ruoff for that fantastic show. Zach Brown Band, Friday. Your chance to win a pair of tickets coming up before the top of the hour. It is an incredibly bittersweet day in terms of content for me. Because while I've thoroughly enjoyed listening to Jake Query and Rick Venturi and Mike Chappell talking about the passing of Robin Miller, it does come on a day where we lose Robin at the age of 74 earlier this morning. And as I told you at the outset, he meant a lot to me because he didn't know me for anybody. And was incredibly loyal, came on whenever I asked, and always provided just incredible content for you. Whether or not you agreed, it just didn't matter. It was always incredible content, and you guys loved it. And even beyond that, I just thoroughly enjoyed our friendship. I mean, that's the stuff I wanted to hear. I wanted to go to those lunch dates at Workingman's Friend, and I wanted to hear those stories. I sat there and listened. That was what was so great about it. You sit there and listened, and there was, I mean, it was like Hoosier Americana right there. It really was. You know, everything that happened in sports that may even be well past my recollection. You know, certainly older than me. But the stories, you talk about being an elite level storyteller. Nobody was better than R. And I will miss him. And I will miss him dearly. And hope you enjoyed the conversations we have had regarding Robin Miller and his passing earlier today. And Mike was right, too. If R knew that he was trending on social media and knew that everybody was, you know, getting an eye full of tears about this, he would not like it. But just kind of comes with this territory because he meant a lot to so many. He just did. All right, quick break, and we'll come back to Race of the Days on the other side. We'll close it out with your calls and your chance to win 50-50 in betting and in dining from Harris Hoosier Park in Anderson. It is the Race of the Day coming up. Zach Brown Brand tickets before the top of the hour as well. And we'll set it up for you coming up on tomorrow's show back in studio. And Friday, we're out for our fourth and final Backyard Bourbon broadcast. That and more on this Wednesday with 93.5 and 107.5 FM The Fan.
You have a lot more equity than you think. Now is the perfect time for a cash-out refinance. TheHomeLoanExpert.com.
The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
Bud Light tailgates are back on Georgia Street this season before Colts home games. Our next game is on September 12th. Stop by for $3 Bud Lights, food, music, and more.
Your friends are hosting an online viewing party to watch a soccer match. But if your slow upload speeds were to make you sound like an evil robot...
Pass the ball! Pass the ball!
Whoa, who is that?
I'm sorry.
You're not an evil robot. You just need better internet. AT&T Fiber delivers a faster internet experience with 25 times faster upload speeds than cable. Visit att.com/25 times faster.
Limited availability in select areas based on Internet 1000 wired upload connection speed versus major cable providers. 1 gig service with uploads of 35 megabits per second. Restrictions apply.
Hey, JMV here with a number that you absolutely need to remember, 317-284-9526. Why? That is the number to get a hold of Lance and his local team at LD Smith Plumbing. And you're saying, oh, wait a minute. I've got no plumbing issues right now. But believe me, when you do, they're not going to tell you. For example, they won't RSVP, hey, we're going to have problems on a Wednesday, so be ready. Nah, they're going to come up at the most inopportune time possible, so be prepared at 317-284-9526. 888-522-4826. That's LD Smith Plumbing. Large or small jobs and emergencies, they handle it all. There's nobody better. So get a hold of Lance and his local team at LD Smith Plumbing. Online, ldsmithplumbing.com today.
Hey guys, have you been thinking about a vasectomy but keep putting it off? Schedule your procedure today for a Thursday or Friday and take the weekend to relax and recover. It's a perfect excuse to binge watch and hoard the TV remote. My vasectomy at Urology of Indiana was simple and took only about 15 minutes. Soon after, I was out the door and on my way home. During my recovery, I took ibuprofen and was back at my office in 3 days. The physicians at Urology of Indiana are board certified and have over 130 years of history in Indiana. They perform vasectomies every day of the week, all year long, and are pros at what they do. And they have multiple vasectomy clinics, so chances are good there's one close to you. Now's the perfect time for a vasectomy. Schedule your appointment online today with Urology of Indiana at vasectomyindy.com. That's vasectomyindy.com. vasectomyindy.com.
JMV here. Normally being 5th ranked is not a bad thing, right? Unless we're talking about hard water. In fact, Indiana has the 5th ranked hardest water in the nation. That is not a good thing. That's going to take its toll on your clothing, your appliances, and more. That's why you got to make that connection with my friends Joe, John, and Dennis and Connecticut today, because Connecticut Indy brings you the most economical water system yet. The only system that are powered by, get this, moving water, designed to deliver worry-free operation and backed by industry-leading warranties. That is Connecticut Water today. 2 locations, northeast side up here in Castleton, south side, US 31 and Southport Road, the Connecticut Water app. Download that to your smartphone or device today or online, ConnecticutIndy.com.
At Metro by T-Mobile, we don't think you should pay extra for unlimited 5G. Introducing the big 5G upgrade. Experience 5G speed at no extra cost. Ditch your overpriced connection with Boost and Cricket and save half off their top plans when you switch to Metro, the leader in prepaid. Get 1 line of unlimited smartphone data for just $25 a month, with 5G access included at no extra cost. Plus, get a free Samsung Galaxy 5G with trade-in. All with the power of the T-Mobile 5G network. Rule your day with unlimited high-speed data and a free 5G phone. Only at Metro. Limited time in-store only. If congested data users greater than 35 gigabytes per month notice lower speeds, and Metro customers notice lower speeds versus T-Mobile due to deprioritization. Leader based on prepaid subs, June 2021. Save half based on 1 line Boost and Cricket unlimited plans. See store for details.
Hey, here we go, the Harris Hoosier Park race of the day. The winner gets 50-50 in dining and betting from Harris Hoosier Park Racing and Casino in Anderson. Here's the lineup. James has Always a Sweet Victory. Kim Becker has Royal Rose. America's Fleet's going to Mike Gary. Jeremy Bullard has Hot Art. Fred Gary takes Fernando. Colin Down. Dwayne Williams. Evergreen Elite going to Jim McCann and Bill Heldman with BNGS Express. There's your lineup, and here it comes. The Harris Hoosier Park race of the day. Good luck.
The following is presented by the Indiana Standard Bred Breed Development Program. From Harris Hoosier Park Racing and Casino, it's time for the Harness Race of the Day on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
They are up. Hot Art not wasting any time, sent right to the lead by Rick Plano, and Hot Art establishes the advantage at once. Always a Sweet Victory is second. America's Fleet is next in third. Then it's Fernando, Colin and Down, followed by Evergreen Elite, and BNG's Express is last early on as the field moves on to turn number 1. And it is Hot Art in front by almost 3 lengths as they pass the quarter-mile mark in 27-3. Second is Always a Sweet Victory, and then moving third, America's Fleet. Next in fourth is Fernando, Colin and Down racing fifth, then Evergreen Elite, and BNG's Express is last of the 7 as they continue on to the half-mile mark. Hot Art is the leader, has it now a length and 3/4. Always a Sweet Victory is second, and then America's Fleet races third. Well positioned here early on. Next is Fernando, followed by the pair of Colin and Down and Evergreen Elite. BNG's Express is last as the field moves to the far turn. Half mile 55 and 4/5. Hot Art, the 4 to 5 favorite, remains in front and has it once again, stretching that lead out to 3. Always a Sweet Victory second. Fernando is moving up on the outside, and following the cover is Evergreen Elite. To the inside, America's Fleet, then Colin and Down. BNG's Express has a half dozen lengths to make up as they come to the top of the stretch. 3/4, 123 and 2. Hot Art is in front off the turn. Hot Art in front by 2. On the outside, trying to move up, is Always a Sweet Victory. Down to the inside, America's Fleet is coming and has an opening to come on through. Hot Art is still in front, though. America's Fleet trying to wear down this leader. Hot Art and America's Fleet duking it out here through the stretch. Hot Art on the outside, still in front. America's Fleet still trying to the inside, but Hot Art prevails. America's Fleet finished second, then Always a Sweet Victory and Colin and Down in 150 and 4.
Just minutes from Indy off I-69 in Anderson, Harrah's Hoosier Park has standard bred horse racing through December 4th, thanks in part to the Indiana Standard Bred Breed Development Program. And keep listening for your chance to win with the Harrah's Hoosier Park Harness Race of the Day on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Sports Center updates on the Fan are brought to you by Big O Tires. It's the Big O Tires anniversary sale now through September 6th. Save up to $150 off a set of Big O brand tires. Big O Tires, the team you trust.
The Colts wrap up the preseason in Detroit against the Lions. Coverage Friday at 4 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
Down the bullish sprint.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hey, congrats to friend of the show, Jeremy Bullard, right there. 50-50. The VIP prize package, betting and dining. Harrah's Hoosier Park, racing and casino in Anderson. Hot Arts was your winner. The win was $380. The payout to place $280. The show was $240. America's Fleet, the place was $1020. The show was $580, and Always a Sweet Victory. That show was $5. $2 exacta payout, $46.40. The 50-cent trifecta payout was $45.15. Jeremy Bullard, congratulations on the win today. The Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino Race of the Day. That is Zach Brown Band. Let Kyle get somebody on board here at 239-1070, presumably number 9, to get that win for the pair of tickets for the show coming up on Friday night at Ruoff Home Mortgage Music Center. All right, 239-1070 is the number. David here, before we get out of here, let's go caller number 1 here. David, hello, how are you?
I'm good, JV. How are you, man?
What you got on your mind, brother?
Hey, first of all, man, I know you're tired of hearing about it, but this reception is horrible, man. I can't even get you on Southport Road here.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you guys know me. I've said it enough. I come from a place where, what's up, Emax? I want the content to be easy to get to. And I know that it hasn't been in certain circumstances. Is there any way? I know the FMs. Can you stream? Can you grab the app? Is there anything else you can do with that?
Man, I'm a little bit older than you, JMV, and I don't know how to do none of that stuff. I just want to turn my radio on and listen to you. But
dude, I don't blame you.
I got a gospel.
I get you.
Gospel stuff on it right now, and I'm on Southport and Arlington, man.
Yeah, listen. I get you, man. I do. I will tell you, man. I want you here, and I want you to continue to listen. So keep trying as much as you can. And my apologies for that. It's completely out of my hands, and I think everybody knows how I feel about it. So.
I know, man, and I'm not trying to harp on anything. Hey, so my question is today, if you got to keep one of these rookie quarterbacks and cut one, which one would you keep?
Well, I'm keeping Eason because I think if you wanted to, you could put Ellinger on the practice squad and nobody's going to claim him. He'll still be there. So okay. I think you can probably keep both just in a different way. To me, Eason is the backup quarterback. And Ellinger, to me, is the third stringer, if you will. I think you keep 3, and you put Ellinger on the practice squad. And I believe, and maybe I'm wrong about that, I think he'll go unclaimed.
Now, let me ask you this, though. So if you had to go long-term with one of these two, would it be Eason?
Yeah, I mean, I would. I would, but not a great deal of trust. But to me, I would much rather go long term with somebody, with Eason, at least to a degree in which he showed, than I would Ehlinger. Because with Ehlinger, I mean, you're talking about trying to scheme for different matchups and stuff is great, but I think you would want just kind of a real, prototypical type of quarterback, and to me, Eason is certainly much more of that.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way there. I think so. If you had to, and if we got to the point of the season where we say, hey, man, we got to win one game, Wentz is hurt again or whatnot, maybe you put Ehlinger in. Teams who might have a hard time trying to scheme against him for one game or something.
Yeah, I think Eason definitely is the backup. Hey, David, I got to run here. Thank you very much for the call, man. Keep trying to listen. I'll keep trying to give you ways, and hopefully, those ways will work for you, David. Thank you very much for that call. Zach Brown Band tickets are being given away. I got you coming up back in studio tomorrow. On Friday, Backyard Bourbon broadcast number 4, which will be fantastic. I got to thank Paul here for Twin Peaks. I love coming up here. Everybody that showed out. This is Gary Harris, seniors up in here. Man, my man Phil's here. Emax is here. Tony D's here. Music Mac. Paul's back there. There's Billy's back there as well. You guys have been great. Julian Blackmon, also a little bit earlier today. Jake Query, Rick Venturi, Mike Chappell. Podcast for each, 1075thefan.com. Cam, great job. Kyle back at the studio, great job. Thank you very much for listening. Back with you tomorrow at 3. Have a great night.
Ah, summertime, and the refi is easy. With home values soaring and interest rates at a historic low 2.25%, now is the time to let Golden Oak Lending help you tap into your growing home equity. But home values this high and rates this low won't be around forever. Visit GoldenOakLending.com today and enjoy the feeling of summer all year long.
NMLS 114937, 2.25% fixed, 3.195% APR. FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
Are you ready? Korn, live in concert. Summer Tour 2021. With special guest, Stained, for one epic night. This Saturday at Ruoff Music Center. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Korn with special guest, Stained. Check more at kornofficial.com. Part of the Coors Light concert series.
Never be the same again. We buy any car. We buy any car. We buy any car. Any.
Did you know trading in your car at a dealer could cost you money? A recent study found consumers who trade in their car pay an average of $990 more. So don't trade in. Sell it to We Buy Any Car. Learn more and get your free online valuation now at WeBuyAnyCar.com.
Find out how much your car's worth at We Buy Any Car.
And now, an angry chicken talks about football at Wings Etc.
In this crazy madcap world, we all need something to believe in. No worries, friend. Leave your troubles at the door of any Wings Etc. grill and pub. Walk into a brand new football season, get some wings or an amazing new double-stacked crispy grilled diner burger, order an ice-cold beverage, settle into the non-corporate surroundings of wood paneling and funny restroom posters and big flat screens serving up NFL Sunday Ticket. You are home, friend. You are at your locally owned sports bar. You are not alone. You are loved. That's right, loved. At the end of the day, that's what we're about. Good food, great times, love. Who can't rally around that, friends? Football is back. Come get some love at Wings Etc.
Wings Etc. with 14 Central Indiana locations, including Avon, Canby, Connorsville, Franklin, Greenfield, Indianapolis, Martinsville, Muncie, Noblesville, Plainfield, Peru, and Shelbyville.
Are you one of those people who thinks it's okay to drive stoned? I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You end up driving below the speed limit? It's no big deal, right? Wrong. The truth is, your reaction times slow way down when you're high. You not only put yourself in danger, but everyone around you. Talk about a buzzkill. Stop kidding yourself. It's not okay to drive high. If you've been using marijuana in any form, do not get behind the wheel. If you feel different, you drive different. Drive high, get a DUI. Paid for by NHTSA.
The first bet on Caesars Sportsbook app is up to $5,000 risk-free, people. When I told my team about the idea, they said I was being too wonderful and magnificent. But I don't care how awesome this makes me. I'm doing this for the people. So just download the app, and that first bet is up to $5,000 risk-free. Caesar made an app for the people.
Must be 21. Offer valid in Indiana only and for new players. Paid in bet credits. Terms and conditions apply. See Caesars.com/promos. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. It's no secret that the housing market is red hot. Homes are selling day one and they're going for over list price. Some folks are making offers on homes that they haven't even seen in person. The competition is fierce. You have to be pre-approved and working with a strong mortgage lender. Get a leg up on the competition and get pre-approved now. TheHomeLoanExpert.com. The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
Indianapolis. They are back. Guns N' Roses, Summer 2021, September 8th, Lucas Oil Stadium. Special guest, the debut of Mammoth WVH featuring Wolfgang Van Halen. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Guns N' Roses are back. It will be unmissable.
It's the Colts VIP Tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. Make your game day experience the best it can be. Log on and get your tickets now. It's bullseyeeventgroup.com.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
Thursday on the Fan Morning Show, we're back in studio, but the Colts coverage will continue. Jonathan Taylor going to join myself, Kevin Bowen, and Brendan King, 7 to 10 a.m. Give us a listen right here on the Fan.
All you need to know about the Colts in one place. The Colts Daily Update starts now. From the Power Home Solar Radio Studio, here's the voice of the Colts, Matt Taylor.
Yes, indeed. Good evening to the Wednesday Colts Daily Update. Tonight, I'm Matt Taylor, and today was the final day of Colts training camp at Graham Park in Westfield. With a threat of rain earlier today in the area, the Colts moved practice inside on getaway day, if you will. All told, the Colts practiced 20 times up at camp, and now they'll set their sights on the third preseason game on Friday night in Detroit when they take on the Lions. Colts have an off day tomorrow for rest and travel, and then it'll be the final time for some players to make a claim at a roster spot or a practice squad spot heading into the regular season. The Colts roster sits at 80 right now after 5 cuts were made earlier this week, and then they'll have to trim the roster down from 80 to 53. That's the next big cut by next Tuesday afternoon at 4 o'clock. But also remember the practice squads are bigger this year, just like they were last year. Each team can keep up to 16 players now. Hey, great job by everybody associated with the Graham Park training camp experience. Hats off to the city of Westfield, the leaders in that community. Hats off to the Graham Park folks, all the volunteers for making it happen. A lot of long hours, weekend dates. Congratulations, too, to the Colts event staff and the marketing department for putting together an unbelievable setup with Colts City. It looked great up there. All the things for the kids to do up at camp. And a great job, too, by the Colts grounds crew at training camp. People don't realize Troy Glendenning, the head of grounds for the Colts, he's got a staff of about 4 people. That's it, 4 people. And they have to maintain fields at Colts camp at Graham Park and also, too, the fields at the training facility on West 56th Street. And he has to do that simultaneously all spring and all summer long. So those guys, Troy and his staff, they're constantly driving back and forth, putting in the miles to make sure the grass, the grounds, and the playing surface are always pristine. So shout out to Troy and his grounds crew for a terrific job up there at Graham Park. Speaking of the grounds, Carson Wentz, Ryan Kelly, and Quentin Nelson were all back on the practice field grounds this week at Colts camp. Kelly's been out since early on with a hyperextended elbow. We're actually going to hear from Ryan coming up on the next segment. He'll talk about his injury. And then, of course, Nelson and Wentz had virtually the same foot injury early on in camp and are both about 3 weeks removed from surgery. Also, both guys have been limited in practice in the sense that they are not doing 11-on-11 work just yet. But everything else looks great. For a third straight day, Wentz was out there running around as if he hadn't been away for 3 weeks at all. He's practiced every day this week. He's been very mobile during individual work, one-on-one drills, and 7-on-7. He's thrown over 90 passes in practice this week during those 7-on-7 sessions, and he's been working with all levels of the Colts offensive skill player depth chart, which is a really good sign. The Colts want to give him as much work as possible, and he stressed that his rehab remains ongoing. There's still a level of pain he has to deal with. At least initially, though, the team's not going to push his practice time too much, again, keeping him out of 11-on-11 work so that he does not get stepped on by offensive or defensive linemen. He said there's still some things to work through, and there's likely going to be some built-in rest and recovery days between now and the regular season. But it's great to get Nelson and